Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for another player ratings and live reaction live stream following Chelsea winning another game. 3 games in a row. Who would have thought that was still possible? It's absolute scenes. Absolute. What a crazy game this was today, by the way. Now, we won the game 3-1, but it could have been all sorts of scorelines. Now, Leicester arguably should have had 3 people sent off. They could have scored 4 goals. We could have scored about 7. But hey, I'll flip and take it. Who would have thought that playing a back 3 makes for crazy games, huh? Who would have seen that coming? Mudryk was playing up front, but somehow still avoided turning into the next Jadon Sancho and becoming the 007 meme, which I'm a big fan of. He just don't like 007. Do you know what I mean? It is what it is. Kai Havertz keeps scoring and playing well, different sorts of positions. Kovacic scores a goal. That never happens. Enzo with one of the best assists you'll see all season. I'm over the moon. I am absolutely over the moon. I haven't even mentioned Ben Chilwell absolutely rubbing it straight in the faces of all these twatty Leicester fans. Big fan. Huge fan of everything that happened today, if I'm honest. Big fan. Except Fofana might have a minor injury. But I assume and, I hope it's not that bad. But Pice, I will start with you because, it doesn't get much better for you than today. I guess Felix not missing chances and costing us goals would help. But Kovacic scored their essentially deciding winner because while it was 2-1, I think we were all still slightly shitting ourselves because Leicester had their moments. Kepa had a couple of screw-ups where Leicester certainly could have equalised. But Kovacic put it to bed. We were shitting ourselves again because we thought it might have been offside. But today was bloody good, wasn't it? Like in the grand scheme of things, sure, things were to be improved. But, in the grand scheme of things, compared to the last few months, it's been a good old week, this one. It's a good week.
Yeah, man, I was kind of shitting myself throughout the game, because even when we was winning, Leicester looked like, they were going to score on some occasions. I think we had a really, really good block off the line from Gallagher and then a tackle from Fofana. It was just really end-to-end. Chelsea and Leicester's always the same, especially at their ground. I don't think we've had, below 2 goals combined between us in a long time at their stadium. So, yeah, 3-1 win. What more could you want? Maybe obviously Felix not missing chances, maybe us not getting offside goals, but
yeah,
it was great, man. Like it was great, And what a day for me. My boy Kovacic scores a scissor kick goal. Like what is that? Like it was mental. I'm so gassed.
Mate, I can't even explain it. It's crazy stuff. It's crazy stuff. I didn't even wait. What did you just say that triggered a memory of something? Well, I forgot again. Hey, it is what it is.
The line and shit like that. It was crazy.
Yeah, no, exactly. Cleared off the line. We made things more difficult than they arguably needed to be. Also, the ref made things more difficult than it arguably needed to be. But hey, at the end of the day, we stood tall, we stood strong, we saw it out, we did what we had to do, and won another game. Bertram, thank you for coming back on. It's been a minute since we were on a player rating stream. I feel like I could be, forgetting things, but I feel like it has been. So glad to have you back on. And what a time as well. And also, that's what I wanted to say. Do you remember our predictions yesterday? Guess who said 3-1? Come on, me. I got to pick myself up. I don't get them right very often. So, pick up myself. But Bertram, what a day, huh? What a crazy game that was.
Brilliant game. I think, top to bottom, I think they played well, most of our players. I still think we see some deficiencies, but, it's just a time for us to be happy. It's been a long time since we won three on the trot. I don't think we've done it this season. Impossibly we've done it this season. So I think we played well. I think, it's all well and good. We need to be happy. We need to enjoy it. But, wow, man, we have some players. Enzo today, my goodness. He got, if you watch the Kovacic goal back, the pass he gives to Kai there, brilliant. So I think today we got to see we have a team with a load of great players. And when, the system gets piped up and stuff like this, it's going to be great. So, I think today it reminded me a bit of the West Ham game, but, in a sense that we're better. So you can see there is some sort of progression here. So very good, very nice. It was quite calm, having to watch the last 15 minutes of a Chelsea game relaxed, something we don't do that often. So it was very good. And thanks for having me on as well.
You're very welcome, mate. Glad to have you on as always. And Clutch, finish it off in terms of the positive news. We were having a little bit of a disagreement before the game because I'm like, support Mudryk more. In the end, he played kind of bad, but at least he avoided being 007. So in the end, we're all happy, especially because we won. Because like Bertram said, and like Pice said, they're always crazy games. This is maybe something we still need to work on a little bit. It seems like either we don't score, but we have things fairly reasonably under control at the back, or we score, but then we are riding our luck. Because against Dortmund as well, mind you, Bellingham, that sitter he missed, if he scores that, very different situation. Who knows how the rest of that game goes then if they force it to extra time or whatever else happens. And then today as well, there was a few occasions. Like, I personally don't think we should criticize Kepa too much for the goal he conceded. Like, that we're so close to that corner and had so much pace on it. I don't think many goalkeepers in the world saved it. Now, people will disagree with that because everyone's like, Kepa's short, so every goalkeeper will automatically save this. What if taller goalkeepers have slower reaction times than Kepa? But anyway, the only thing I could maybe agree with is that his positioning wasn't ideal. Could have been a bit closer to the near post, but at the end of the day, we won. But his two wannabe clearances later on, they were a bit dodgy. So thankfully, once Gallagher cleared up, and the other time, Leicester just fluffed it. So at the end of the day, I mean, it's been since October since we scored 3 goals. It's been since October since we won back-to-back Premier League games. Like, are we back, or is that too soon to use that term, Clutch? You're muted? Sorry.
Wow. I think it's still too soon, to be honest. There's still things that we need to fix up. The disagreement we had about Mudryk, I'm going to say it. I was correct. He looked much better when we switched to the back 4 and he was out on the wing. That's when he started actually doing 11.
The ball then?
Yeah, that's when he got the assist.
Yeah, but clearly wasn't in a wide area when he got the assist, did he? Was he? Like,
well, I'm trying to be positive because he was shit otherwise.
He was.
So you want me to be positive? I'll be positive. Yeah, other than that, Kai Havertz was really good today again. Hopefully that kicks him on. He was just taking up really good positionings. Defense was pretty good. I do think we are seeing Koulibaly start to get into form. I think he's where he needs to be. There was one moment when Ruben went for a slide tackle and completely fluffed it, and he covered the shit out of him. So I think overall it was a very positive. It was more positive because you got to start somewhere. But at the end of the day, it's still Leicester. I shouldn't say it like that. Leicester have been on pretty terrible form, but
before that terrible form, they beat Spurs 4-1, who we can't beat. So
that's a fair statement.
They didn't play like a team that were on bad form though. Like, I was on the edge of my seat quite a bit for my games there. Leicester
they're always going to fight. Leicester are always going to fight.
Yeah, they've got good players, man. Like, I don't really care what form they're on because I don't know. I've not seen their last few games. I know they lost, but they were good today, I think. And we just
this chat's going to hate me today. Sorry in advance.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, by the way, subscribe if you haven't already and hit that like button because it helps us spread the streams out to more people. We'll get into the lineup in a second, but Mudryk played up front, so I still don't know whether he's any decent in that inside forward area. I will say, the fact that Potter didn't use him at all until now in this formation, and then when he once did, played him up front, does suggest that Potter agrees with Clutch at least. That's not exactly a position he's particularly suited. Otherwise, why would he have played him there? Let's start with the team. But I guess initially we didn't expect or know that it would line up the way it did in the end. Because, I mean, Pice, I'm sure you didn't expect Mudryk to play up front. Obviously, everything else was pretty much as expected. I guess there was a minor question mark. Would Kovacic start another game after he was obviously injured for a bit before that? He did, was captain again, all good. Chilwell kept his place as well. We all knew James would miss the game, so Ruben at right wing back wasn't surprising. Felix starting and Havertz starting wasn't surprising either. But the fact that Mudryk started, and then even more so when we realized he was playing up front, that was surprising, no?
Just to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of Mudryk, I actually think someone said on the last stream, why don't we play Mudryk striker in the super chat donation? And we was like, it's not FIFA. And then next game he plays up front. So I was like, what is going on here? But
apparently it is FIFA.
I mean, to be fair, I think the reason why he did it was because Havertz was kind of in that sort of right-hand-sided... Well, he was floating a lot against Dortmund. And the only thing I was surprised with was that Felix wasn't the one that played up front and then Mudryk on the left. But, I mean, we'll get more into the front three.
I think it was the same thing as Dortmund. You just change Mudryk for Sterling. That's all.
Yeah, but
we
I
did
think
pretty much
against
the
Dortmund,
same thing.
It wasn't as clear. Like against Dortmund, it was a bit of a sometimes Sterling pushed up and Havertz was clearly on the right, and then sometimes Havertz was clearly in the middle, especially for long balls, and Sterling was still off on the right. Sometimes it also felt like kind of a 1-2 rather than a 2-1 with Felix almost behind Sterling and Havertz. Even though, to be fair, there was moments where it felt like that today in the first half when Felix was still on. But yeah, I don't know. We will talk about Mudryk later on. We will get to that. But let me get to Maddsion. Let me do the same order as for the intro for the time being. Anything that surprised you majorly about the game other than presumably Mudryk being up front?
I think I might not have got the memo, but Maddsion not playing, especially having, Koulibaly and, the back three, same as against Dortmund, where they did play well. But if we wanted to rotate them, I suppose, I think that was maybe the only large thing I had. Otherwise, I thought it was quite interesting. Not worrying, but I'm interested to see what's going on with Mason Mount as well, when we're talking about the contract talks. I don't know if he's on the bench or not, but otherwise I thought it was a good team we lined up with, to be honest. I think we got the most out of, most of our best players. So, yeah, in general, I think it was a decent team selection for Potter. It worked out in the end.
There you go. It's actually a good point. We talked about Maddsion yesterday. In the end, we went for this back three in terms of what we would have liked to see. Even though Pice actually went for Maddsion instead of Koulibaly. My only reasoning against it was that is a bit too young of a back three. Like Cucurella's 24, Maddsion's 21, Fofana's 21. I was like, maybe let's not do that when we so urgently need to win another game. But hey, here we are. It would have been okay for sure. But hey, this is what we went for. I think we all agree that Cucurella at least deserved to play another game after his masterclass against Dortmund. And he didn't disappoint once again.
Laurenz, if I could quickly pose a question.
Go on. Say again.
We've seen Cucurella play very decently these two games, and if we keep playing with this system, the question is, what do we do with Maddsion being left-footed? What are we going to do with Cole and stuff like this? I think it's quite interesting to see what he does with this, to be honest, because I think we saw in the group chat, Cucurella offensively isn't as good as we'd like him to be. So him playing left back is maybe not good. So it's going to be interesting to see the left center back, what's going to be up with that.
Yeah, it is interesting because obviously we added Maddsion. It's been phenomenal. Having Maddsion and Cucurella, I guess that's okay, somewhat depending on opponent. If they're super strong in the air, you go for Maddsion over Cucurella. If they're super impressive in terms of their players behind the striker, you go for Cucurella for the aggressive press maybe. But then you add Colwell to it. Well, we'll have to see what we do. Could Maddsion also play in the middle? For sure he could. So, I guess we'll just have to see how it works out, because with a squad of over 30 players, you're always going to have a few too many players in a few positions. I don't think that's avoidable when you have over 30 players. So we'll have to wait and see how it goes. Mudryk looks like Daniel Craig's son. I'm not sure he does, but, sure. Fair enough. Clutch, turns to the team, other than Mudryk up top, but any surprises in your mind?
It's about the team I would have thought. I would have thought Madueke was the one to come in, because you would have just put Madueke on the right. But other than that, ask you
because you've been quite adamant in terms of that Mudryk isn't suited to this inside forward position. And like I said, seemingly Potter kind of agrees with you. But what makes you not think that about Madueke? Because
I think that about Madueke too.
Okay, well, there you go.
I just figured Madueke.
That I think is the reason. He's just.
Here's my reasoning. Felix is a better player than Mudryk. Felix is not going to be moved off the left. It's just not going to happen. Havertz.
But he could, though. Does it matter to Felix? Like, remember the Fulham game?
Apparently it does, because he's been shit ever since this.
Moment when the guy wasn't the right. I don't think to Felix it matters, to be honest. But maybe it does. Yeah, you're right.
He's been shit ever since he's been put in this back three, so it does matter somewhat.
And there's also Pice will not be happy with you on that one. Is there anything we need to discuss before we get into the game itself? I don't think so. I think we just get into these player ranks. I think we'll have quite a few things to say about some of these players anyway. So let's not waste any more time. Before that, though, ladies and gentlemen, subscribe. Again, subscribe if you haven't already. We're on the road to 20,000 subscribers. Just one click of a button. And it means well. So please do that and hit the like button as well. Let's start with Kepa then. I have a feeling he might get the lowest or the second lowest rating of all our players today. So that's an interesting one. I haven't had to say that about Kepa in a good while, actually. Now, he did make 2 or 3 actually very good saves. One from Maddsion, one from, was it Iheanacho maybe? He made a couple of very good saves, but, like I say, the 2 punches that he put straight to a Leicester player and then was purely lucky on both occasions. That once Gallagher helped him out and the other time Leicester just fluffed it. And the goal. Now, I said I don't think he should be blamed for the goal. Maddsion, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think he should be blamed for that goal? Or,
I saw it back. I think
he shouldn't be blamed a lot for the goal.
Yeah, no, like you said, I think, it's not, when you're talking about goalkeeper mistakes, it can go through your hands, and, there isn't much to be said about it. But I think, having watched it back again, I think his positioning is a bit off. There's a lot of room for Daka to shoot into, but I think it's always difficult. It's always going to be difficult expecting a goalkeeper to, a goalkeeper's positioning to be 10 out of 10 every game. So it will happen eventually. I think the thing about him not being able to save long shots doesn't really come into it here. Long shot, fair enough. But I thought he was good today. I thought, particularly after the goal, when he had to, get back up, he made some good saves to keep us in it. If we go behind there, no question, I think we're not going to win this game. So I think we need to thank him for that. But for the goal itself, you could say it was a bit of a mistake. I'd give him a rating of 6.5, and I think mainly the biggest mistakes were the 2 punches he made. The one to Dewsbury Hall, who should score. He should score, and the one earlier as well, where Gallagher helped us out. So I think I'd give him a 6.5 purely based on the fact that I think his good saves almost outweighed it. But if we're looking for a mistake, I think they come in the second half.
There you go. It's a difficult one for me. I would probably have gone 6 myself, purely because maybe 5.5 even. Because if I want to be critical of him and say, okay, your positioning was a bit too central, that's why you couldn't quite get there to the shot. Again, though, the shot has so much power. I think people like to underestimate what a difference it makes whether a shot is hit with crazy power or not. I think people, I don't know, sometimes don't think of that as much as they should, because he's made 2 really good saves, but he's made 2 other really bad mistakes. So that in itself evens it out to a 6 in my mind, in a way. And then it's just a question is, do I take another 0.5 off for the goal or not? So I think I will go 5.5. We'll leave us at a 6 for the time being, and I'll go to Clutch. What would you give Kepa today, and what did you think of the goal? Would you blame him? If so, would you blame him a lot or just a little bit? What do you think?
I would give him a 6. I think he had mistakes, but he also had a couple good saves to kind of even that out. I don't blame him for the goal. The goal was solely on Joao Felix for trying to dribble out of fuck all. No, I don't blame Kepa for those type of goals. I mean, the ball was off the dude's left foot. It was bending away from him. Those are always the hardest shots to save. I just think that every time a shot goes in, we tend to just blame the keeper because it's like, oh shit, every shot should be saved. That's just not how it works. That was just a really good shot. Sometimes that shit goes in, and it went in today. You can't blame him for that. And again, I think people just I just think it's overcritical of Kepa at this point. You know what you're going to get with Kepa. If you want to criticize him for his weird punch outs that he does for whatever fucking reason.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. Pice, let's ask you basically the same question. Kepa's rating, obviously, we sit at a 6 for the time being still. What about the goal, and what about his performance overall, and what rating would you give him, mate?
I'd probably give him a 5.5, just because I think his claiming of crosses and stuff was, could have been the reason why we didn't win the game. He wasn't as secure as he has been in the past games, I think. I don't blame him as such for the long shot, but why is it that long shots are always going against Kepa? Why is it that people always shoot when Kepa's in goal from long range?
That's the one thing I will agree on. And partly it's probably our fan base that's to blame for that, because we always say, oh, Kepa can't save long shots. That's why every Leicester player especially always shoots as soon as they're within 25 yards of Kepa. I don't know.
We act like this is the only place that happens. I see banger goals like that all the time. It's not the only place that happens.
I don't know. I feel like maybe it's because we watch Chelsea.
You can't tell me that Chelsea's the only team that gets outside or gets goals
you can make a 2-minute. You can make a 2-minute plus comp of long shots against Kepa. It happens every single time. It's not a coincidence anymore.
Yeah, I mean it happens obviously to every team every now and again. I just feel like it maybe happens a bit more often to us. Is that bad luck? Is that people knowing that that's maybe a little bit of a weakness of Kepa? Who knows? I genuinely don't know. I don't think there's a conclusive answer to this question, if I'm honest. But overall, I think that leaves us at a 6 with 1 6.5, 1 6, and 2 5.5s. Just edges it over to even it's
Lawrence, can I come in? Can I come in quickly?
Of course,
just real quick. I think the thing with Kepa about his height, I think, Pice is right. We do concede more long shots than we probably would do if we feel like Nick Pope. But I think the height also counteracts it in a way that, maybe he gets easier down sometimes. And I think the shots, he's one of the best goalkeepers too. When he gets a shot, close to him, he doesn't always spill them. He almost always catches them out more than any other keeper. So I think, we do lose a little bit for the height, but I think his height also compensates with, other shots. And he does keep us in the game. Exactly, and I think we do. I see what you're all saying about the fact he was almost costing us the game, but he also keeps us in it. So I think 6 is a good rating from him.
Yeah, no, I think it's fair. And again, people that are constantly going about the height, again, Iker Casillas is 2 inches shorter than Kepa. So it's not all about height. Now, if Iker Casillas has much more jumping power, jumping force in his legs, then sure, that can compensate for that to some extent. Maybe Casillas just had much longer arms than Kepa. But to be honest, when I look at Kepa, he actually looks like he has quite long arms anyway, if I'm honest. So, but maybe it's the kit that makes that look that way. All right. For once, usually we always start on the left or on the right. Why don't we start in the middle? Kalidou Koulibaly, I thought was very good today. I could look at some stats as well because I haven't really looked at any players' stats so far. But I would say Koulibaly was very good. And on top of that, got an assist. Not that he knew much about it. He kind of just punted it into the box, overhit it a little bit. But it fell perfectly to Ben Chilwell. And Ben Chilwell is an absolute master of a volley. And I'm not sure if he was taught by Marcus Alonso how to do that, or if he just knows himself. I don't know. But Koulibaly, good at the back. Even deflected that one other long shot that we had against us, deflected it onto the bar. Maybe Kepa would saves it otherwise comfortably, who knows. But he did make sure he doesn't go in anyway. His pass completion rate is 85%. Accurate crosses is 1 out of 1. You can't complain with that. His long balls weren't great. 2 out of 8 isn't phenomenal. Ground duels is 3 out of 4. Aerial duels only 1 out of 3. That's the part that's less so amazing. But only committed 1 foul. So, I would say a good performance. Adding to that an assist, I'd probably give him a 7.5. Price. What do you think? Do you think that's about right, or what would you give him?
I'd probably give him. No, I don't know. I might go over 7. Just because I think his passing was a bit iffy today. But overall, he was solid defensively. I think he made the most clearances out of any other Chelsea player. I think he made 9 recoveries, I was reading, which I think was the most as well. He looks solid in the central position. I'll probably give him a 7, though. I'll probably give him a 7. I think the other 2 were better, personally.
Despite the assist?
Yeah, despite the assist, because it's ridiculous volley from Chilwell, to be honest. It's not like he just, it was he just put it in the box, and it was like so high up in the air. The Chilwell should. I don't know why people aren't giving Chilwell even more praise for that goal. It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't know how he got that contact and the placement on it. I know obviously he caught Ward out, but the audacity to even try that and score is mental.
Fair play. All right, a 7 and a 7.5 so far then. Clutch, whereabouts do you sit on Koulibaly today, mate?
Me?
Yes.
I thought he was really good. I'd give him a 7.5. I thought he defended well, and then you give him the assist, it's 7.5.
Good.
Like I said, the one moment where Ruben went to ground and fluffed it a little bit, he was the one to come clear up. You don't always see that. That was very smart of him.
Fair. No, there you go. I thought it was interesting that Pi said in terms of the passing, because I thought if any of the 3 had bad passing, it was maybe Fofana, especially after he had that, weird yellow card that he got where was it Castagna, whoever was rolling on the floor, protecting he got hit in the face when he didn't. And then that free kick, which nearly resulted in a penalty for a handball by Fofana, which I think we got lucky with on purely that decision, but I think it's ridiculous that it was a free kick in the first place because Fofana got nothing but the ball. So I still don't understand how that happened. But any which way, 2 7.5s for the time being. Then, Bertram, are you going to make me do a poll, or are you going to go for the 7.5 as well?
I'm going to blow you all out of the water. I'm going to go an 8. And here's why I'm going to go with an 8. I think he was with Cucurella, who, spoiler, I'm going to give him the same rating. I think they were our 2 best defenders. I think he was calm throughout the whole game. I think especially we saw Fofana. You mentioned some of the situations as well, where you could see some of the, he isn't as experienced as Koulibaly. And I think that injury to Thiago Silva has done the world of good for Kalidou. You know, he's able to come in central center back, you know, not get into too many of those duels on the outside, and is able to, you know, command the defense, you know, with his French-speaking defense with Fofana as well. So I think personally he held it down, especially after we conceded the goal. I think he was the rock in our defense. So personally, I would go and give him an 8. I thought he was brilliant today, and you know, also a bit because you know we've all written him off, and he was, you know, he's been very decent these last couple of games. So personally, for me, an 8.
You know what? I don't even disagree with you too hard. Even if I go for an 8, that leaves us at a 7.5 regardless. So no point doing that. By the way, shout out Amit. You know, his first time on stream yesterday. Now he turns up with super chat. You're just helping me out all sorts at the moment. Yeah, but he says Potter in. Fair play. To be fair, yesterday he said he wasn't quite as convinced on the Potter out as some others. By the end, even me was. So, you know, fair play if you actually stuck by it. Now you're looking a bit better for that. Let's get to Wesley Fofana. It's a difficult one because I kind of still want to give him the same rating as Koulibaly. Nah, I changed my mind. I give him a 7. But I think he was very unlucky because I don't think he should have been booked. Well, maybe he should have been booked. The reason I'm saying he shouldn't have been booked is because a few minutes before that, Joao Felix nearly had his leg broken and the referee didn't even give a yellow. So if that's not a yellow, then Fofana should never be booked. But I guess if you look at them as separate incidents, then the yellow card for a foot you know, hitting the guy in the shoulder with your leg, I guess maybe you can. A yellow card is okay for that. But like I say, the whole penalty debate, I don't even think is a debate because, like I say, if the ref has eyeballs, he doesn't give the free kick in the first place. Otherwise, I thought it was solid, other than a few moments and minutes of where his passing just seemed a little bit all over the show. But his pass accuracy was also worse than Koulibaly's, 78%. Where to Koulibaly's, I think it was 85. Long balls were kind of similar to Koulibaly. Tackles, 1 out of 2. Ground duels, 3 out of 5. Aerials, 2 out of 5. Good, but not outrageous. Then at the end had to come off. I just hope he's fine. I think he's fine, but I just hope he's fine. And obviously was booed all day. So, you know, I had to deal with that as well. I'm not sure how often he would have experienced that in his playing career yet. Probably never. So, you know, that's something to learn. That's something to, you know, build experience from, to experience that for the first time. So, yeah, I'll say 7. I could be convinced into a 7.5. I'll see what you boys have to say. I'll switch it around. Maddsion, I'll let you go first. You gave Koulibaly an 8. Are you going to give Fofana just 0.5 below that or full point?
Yeah, I'll stick with the 7. I think, you know, we touched on the inexperience, but, you know, difficult circumstances, you know, coming back to his old teammates, getting booed, stuff like this, and came out of a tough period. And I think we all know that we have a very, very good player in Fofana, and he also needs time like everyone else. You know, he will make mistakes, but I think we're beginning to see what he has to offer. So I think he was solid today. I thought he was a 7. You know, not more to it. I'd give him a 7 as well.
First. Clutch. 7 for Fofana. Would you agree with that? You gave Koulibaly a 7. No, you gave Koulibaly a 7.5 as well. So what would you actually, now that I think about it, if I give Koulibaly an 8, that might give Koulibaly an 8. I'll leave it. But what will you give Fofana, mate? Sorry.
I think Fofana was... I'm going to go for a 7. I was in between a 7 or a 7.5. I do think he was a little bit better defensively than the other two. When you get to Cucurella, there's going to be a stat that you're not going to want to read, but we'll do that in a minute. But I thought Fofana was pretty good today. I'd stick with 7.
There you go. Fair play. And Pies, in your opinion, Fofana was a little bit better than Koulibaly. So am I right in assuming you would like to give Fofana 7.5 then?
Yeah, I think so. With Koulibaly, it's interesting that he has more accurate pass percentage. I just think, I don't know, Koulibaly, I just don't like how he smashes it at players all the time. Like Fofana, you know, like I don't know, like that's why I wanted Maddsion to play in the middle. I just think we're so much more calm and less like, you know, there's less opportunity for the game to be end to end when we don't play Koulibaly. But they were both good defensively. Fofana for me. That I don't know if you guys have watched it back, but the one where Gallagher cleared it off the line and then bounced back for the Leicester player to have a tap in, and Fofana intercepted it with an unbelievable tackle. Yeah. So that's why. Yeah, that's why. I just missed that. Yeah, you would have. You need to watch it back. It was such a last ditch, got his toe just in front. It would have been a tap in. So that's why he gets higher for me.
Hey, if someone has a video of that, tweet it at me or DM me or whatever, because maybe that will sway my vote also to a 7.5. But for the time being, we'll leave it at a 7. and leave it at that. But hey, if someone sends that to me, maybe I'll change mine. Let's get to the other side. Marco Cucurella, out of the squad for 3 match days completely, comes back with a masterclass against Dortmund and follows that up with another masterclass against Leicester, in my opinion. Got completely unrightfully booked, if you ask me. Never a yellow card, in my opinion. He doesn't even hit the guy. The guy dives, falls into Cucurella, and the ref gives him a yellow. Again, you gave 2 straight reds, clear straight reds, mind you, and you didn't even book them. Like, what a clown that guy is. But any which way, I'm very intrigued what Clutch is going to be talking about. I assume the ground duels, which is 7 out of 16, which is 44%. But you have the opposite side of that he won 6 out of 7 tackles. This Fofana attempted 2, and Koulibaly attempted 1.
How many times was he dribble passed?
I haven't seen that. Apparently 7 times. But
that's a very bad stat. I don't care what you say. That's a bad stat. It's a bad stat.
That's a stat that is.
That's a bad stat.
I'm not. Because he always runs at the defender. Obviously, he's then more likely to be run past. So it's like, meh.
Yeah, because if he was dribble past, like if it was like 1v1 in the box, terrible. But because he pushes out so much, like dribble pass, is that like literally just someone like taking it to the side and then passing it to someone else? Like, does that count? Because that's quite ridiculous. If so.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough stat.
I'll go first. I think he's a 7. I thought everything else was very good from him, but that stat will never allow me to go above a 7. You're a defender first and foremost, and yes, there are certain things, but if that's what happens when you rush out like that, then you should know not to do that anymore.
No, but he's instructed to rush out. Like, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea, that I think you're aware that is a risk. It's weird because the stat says 7, but I can't remember that happening. So it's like I'm a little bit.
Most of their attack came down to the right side.
It's because the reason why he does it
successful. When you think about
the reason why he's instructed to do it is because if he wins the ball, we win the ball high up then. So then we have the counter on. That's why he does it. Doesn't mean it always happens, but it's definitely an instruction because he is just really aggressive player. Like, you watch Dortmund, how many times did he get in front of when they played a pass and he anticipated it and got in front and we won the ball? That's like the whole aim of it all, because he's that type of aggressive player, because he's quick across the ground. So I think that's why. He definitely is an instruction.
Yeah, no, it's definitely an instruction. I think Clutch probably agrees with that one as well. He even had 5 passes into the final third. Who are you and what have you done to Marco Cucurella? Because now this 7 times dribble pass is slightly confusing me, if I'm honest. But I'm going to stick to what I said before, because I have to go with, what I judged it as, what I saw. And if I didn't notice the dribble pass, I can't just jump on the stat itself, can I? So I'm going to stick with the 8 that I was going to give him, because I thought it was absolutely brilliant. And again, the main reason why we were able to defend as aggressively as we were and beat the press as often as we did. I genuinely think he's the main reason for it. So I'll say 8. Clutch went 7. So we sit at 7.5 for the time being. Pice, what are you going to give Cucurella? Do you think I'm going to bid too high with the 8, or you maybe going to agree even?
I'll tell you what, I probably would have given him an 8 if he got the assist at the end and didn't mess that attack up.
Yeah.
No, but I think he was really good, to be fair. I've actually
91% pass accuracy too.
I've read a stat by I can never say their name, but it's like Squawker or Squawker. I don't know what's but they've said he's actually made 7 successful tackles so far in the 5 Premier League games. That's more than any other player on any team today, so that's quite impressive.
That is. I mean, here it's a 6 out of 7 regardless. That's really good.
Regardless. Like, I don't know if it's just me or something, but he just seems quicker now as well. I don't know why. Maybe it's because he's not running down. Yeah, maybe because he's not doing so much running, down the sides and back and forth. But he just seems like more sharp. I don't know whether that's just training and being out of the team, but hope he keeps it up because, been really, really good. And, for the people who say like, oh, what do we do, when Silva's back, Badiashile, I don't like seeing Badiashile on the bench. I think he's been absolutely amazing. But like winning games, this is the sort of headaches you want, if you're a manager, you want to have these selection difficulties. You don't want to just pick a team and, he has to be there because Cucurella is crap or something. Like, now he's, playing like his price tag. This is a great thing to have, in my opinion. It just, like, you look at Koulibaly, how bad he was, and then he came back into the team. Like, he had to fight for his place when Badiashile was so good. Ever since Badiashile came, Koulibaly's been really good. So, competition does breed success. It does cause problems, but it does breed success. And, people need to remember that as well. So I'm going to go over 7.5.
Fair dues. Maddsion, finish it off. Cucurella. I gave it 8. Clutch gave it 7. Pice gave it 7.5. What are you going to go for? And what do you make of the dribbled past 7 times stat? Because, like I say, I just didn't see that happening. I didn't watch this game thinking, Cucurella is constantly getting dribbled past. I don't know if I just watched the wrong. Like, I don't know how that can happen. How can you get dribbled past 7 times and I can't think once? Oh, why are you getting dribbled past? This is weird to me.
Funny you said it. I'm watching snippets from the game, and I found one, but he gets dribbled past like on the halfway line. So, you make of it what you will. I think I'd give him an 8 as well. I agree with most of the points you made. I think I wouldn't put too much into the dribble past stat because we would see it if he been dribbled past in dangerous positions. But I think it was brilliant. I thought the way that we're using him, it's similar to Brighton when he pushes up and he's difficult to come through. And we did win the ball high up a couple of times, as Pice touched upon earlier. So I thought he was brilliant. I think shades of the game he played against Dortmund as well, where I thought he was good. So he's a different type of center back that we have, and it gives us a different weapon as well. And I think he's been good, and he was terrible before. So I'm happy to see him playing better as well. He also had, for the goal that we had disallowed, which, I looked at it again, it's a brilliant goal. Played a great pass into Mudryk, who took it on and passed it to Ruben, and we all know what happened next. So I'd give him an 8. I thought he was really good, and he's a different type of center back. So I think we're beginning to see what kind of player we've bought. So for me, an 8, and I think he deserves it.
Fair dues. And what I haven't mentioned, as much as I went on about all sorts of stats at the very beginning of the stream, not only was it our first time that we won back-to-back Premier League games, and the first time we scored 3 goals since October, it's also our first away win since October. And if I'm not mistaken, it might actually be the first time that we scored 3 goals in an away game this season. So, unless I'm forgetting something, but I can't remember it. So, I'll go with it, and I'm just very pleased. And now we move on to the wing backs, and I have to go with him first. They boo him every time. His celebration was just absolute gold. Like, I absolutely loved it. The volley was incredible. Let's bring up some stats. To be fair, against Dortmund, his stats didn't actually look that great, but we all thought it was great. So we'll see what this one says. Pass accuracy, 70%, which isn't amazing, but, there will be a few difficult passes in there too. And he created the most chances in the match with 3. And Pice tweeted the stat earlier, which I'm sure Pice can read out in a minute. But the most impressive, I think, is 4 out of 6 completed crosses. That's very good. 4 out of 6 completed crosses. That's fair play. Somehow, he apparently attempted no tackle, but has 8 recoveries, so that's good. Only was in 1 ground duel, didn't win it, and was in no aerial duel. So basically, he didn't have to defend at all. But, he created 3 chances. So what more can you want? And scored. So because of how good the goal was as well, but I'm tempted to give him a 9, Maybe 8.5, but I'm tempted. You know what? Fuck it. For getting booed all day as well and scoring that good of a goal. And how long has it been since we scored an early goal? Like, it was so good that we actually started the game well and scored. Usually we start well and miss all our chances. Then we lose control of the game. Then we concede and then we're screwed. But this time, for once, we actually scored when we played well at the beginning. So I'm going to give him a 9. Maybe you guys are going to go lower. Maybe some people in the chat are saying I've gone too high. I don't care. I'm just buzzing at the fact we won some games. Do you know what I mean? So, it is what it is, boys. It is what it is. Maddsion, Chilwell, do you think 9 is a bit too high, or does everything that happened today warrant that 9 for you?
If we cast our minds back to the first couple of games under Lampard, when Pep was asked, how we played, Pep was like, "Oh, so good, so good." This is how I describe Chilwell. I think he is a Rolls Royce of a wingback. I think we're beginning to see shades of the player we bought again, and he was so good today. The goal as well, the audacity to try it from there. I think he almost had enough of all the boos, so he just thought, "Okay, let me go for it." He was brilliant today, and I think the 9. If it's
people
9,
in the chat
9,
coming straight from my throat here, it seems.
If it's 9 or 8.5, I don't think it matters. I think he was brilliant, and I think we're lucky to have him, even though he's not always as glamorous as someone else. I think he deserves a 9 today. I thought he had a great performance, and there's something about him. You always kind of feel secure whenever he's attacking. You always feel that it's going to be of high quality. And in the chat, Ted Turner talked upon it as well. Great corners he put in. He almost got an assist for the Fofana header. So I think a 9 definitely warranted today. He wasn't my man of the match, so that makes someone else's rating higher as well. But I think a 9 definitely warranted. A great performance for Chilwell again.
Fair dues. To be fair, most of the chat said like 8.5 or 9. So like we're not exactly far off each other here, boys. But yeah, there you go. Maybe the Clutch and Pice will go for an 8.5. We will see. And then you will end up with a poll. I will go with you next, Clutch. 9. Do you think we're going a little bit too high with that one? I will admit that maybe I'm getting a, what's the one I'm looking for?
Ahead of yourself.
Ahead of myself. Yeah, exactly. But hey, the goal was so good. And I can't remember him making any mistakes. So what the flip am I giving him a lower rating for?
It's a good question. You know what? I was going to go 8, but I'm going to go 8.5.
You can go 8.5 if you want, just to allow a poll in the chat, if that's what you want to do.
Oh, I will. Yeah, I'd go 8.5. To be honest, I thought he was really good. He's not my man of the match, but I do think he was really good. I thought he had a lot of good moments, and obviously this formation suits him and James the best. We get the best out of Chilwell, and it's just there's so many times the man just storms down the wing every time. So I'd give him an 8.5.
Fair enough. Pice, are you gonna make the poll happen, or are you gonna go for a 9?
I'm going to make the poll happen just because he literally had 0 defensive actions. I don't know whether that's good or not. Like, he made 0 clearances, blocked 0 shots, 0 interceptions, 0 tackles. Didn't get dribble pass, to be fair, but he was just all about attacking today. And he gets such a high rating because, I think...
But he did have 8 recoveries, though. So, like, he did do defensive things as well.
Yeah, but, I want to, for a 9, I want a bit more of a complete performance back and forth. But he was really, really good. The goal was amazing. And he created 3 chances as well. I read a stat which is crazy the other day. And, per game in the Champions League, I think he's created 13 chances in the Champions League. It's more than any other fullback in Champions League. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. We're really getting wing-back Chilwell back. And, yeah, I mean... Just really, really good, to be honest. I'm so pleased that he's finding his form again, and he's not looking rusty. He looks quick, he looks sharp, and a big thing as well, to deal with all the boost today as well. Like, fuck Leicester fans, man. They can hold that. Like, brilliant celebration. Like,
I don't even know what these Leicester fans are on, man. Like,
I don't know why they're so mad, bro. We give them like 120 mil for these two. Why are they crying so much?
Exactly. We give them 120 mil. We won them their one and only league title. Like, stop booing our players, man. Stop crying. Like, you won your first FA Cup against us. Like, surely you should love us and stop booing our players. Like, come on now.
Really why would you go to Chelsea when you could stay at Leicester?
Yeah, and fight relegation. To be fair, we're not far off a relegation fight this season. But, that's a whole different debate.
We don't say that out loud. Shh.
Yeah, exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, I did place a poll at the very top of the chat now. So you can pick between an 8.5 or a 9 out of 10 rating for Ben Chilwell. Now, obviously, I always say if you wanted to go less than 8.5, click 8.5. And if you wanted to go higher than 9, go 9. But obviously, the higher these two ratings are between, there's a lot less below 8.5 than there is remaining above 9. So, maybe it is a bit unfair. But, yeah, so far, the 8.5 is winning. But, ladies and gentlemen, we've only got 58 votes so far. So, place your vote, please. And in a few minutes, we will get back to it and see what the results say. Let's get to the other side. Ruben Loftus-Cheek, our fill-in wing-back. It feels like last season all over again. And every time he plays, I'm pretty happy. Other than that one really bad slide tackle, I thought he was absolutely fantastic. Created 2 chances. Should have maybe created a third at the end, but his cutback got intercepted. Successful dribbles, 2 out of 4, which is pretty good. Tackles 1, 0 out of 1, so that's very average. Ground duels 1, though, 4 out of 6. Aerial duels, 2 out of 4, acceptable at least. Didn't commit a single foul, so that's good. 3 recoveries as well, which could have been a bit more, I will say. But yeah, I will give him a 7.5. Maybe people think that's high, maybe they don't. I don't know. I will say 7.5. Pice, I will let you go first out of the boys for once. I feel like I haven't let you do that much this game. So do you think 7.5 is tad high? Would you go 7 maybe? That's what 2 people in the chat have said so far. What do you think?
Nah, 7.5. I'd probably up Koulibaly to a 7.5 thinking about it as well. But yeah, I think Ruben was... I keep telling people, I don't know why people have a problem with him playing wing-back. He never lets us down there. Like, the only time I wasn't, like, pretty annoyed with him was when he made that, like, flew in for that tackle cross. I was like, that's just stupid. But, again, he's not primarily a defender. Luckily, the guy didn't, go down. But other than that, man, like, he's just... I think he suits the wide position of wing back, because like how many times we've seen last season as well, like the way he like uses his body when he has like two people next to him, and he can just run. And when he runs down the line, like not many people can stop him because he's so powerful. So, you know, I think he's a really good option there. I don't think I've ever said he's played a bad game at right wing back, and that's pretty insane, to be honest, because
maybe when we lost 4-1 or was it 3-1 to Brighton away at the beginning of the season under Potter, Ruben, I think, played right wing back that game. No, it's a lie. He played midfield and Pulisic.
He played midfield, didn't he? Yeah.
Because it was Pulisic and Sterling wing backs, wasn't it?
Yeah. Was it on both sides? I think it was that game,
right.
just Pulisic and Sterling was the game before, maybe. Who knows? But actually, I don't think it was Ruben there. So, yeah, fair enough. 2 7.5s for the time being. Maddsion, I'll go with you. Would you agree with that 7.5? Or what do you think?
Yeah, I think I'd give him between a 7.5 and a 7. I thought he was pretty good. I don't like the idea of giving him the same rating as what we've given Cucurella. So I think personally for me, I'd give him a 7 as well. I think something to touch on with Ruben is, he's one of the.
You've got to stick with your own ratings though, because if you go lower because the others go lower, we will go lower the higher up the pitch we go, right?
Yeah, if it's my own rating, I think I'd give him a 7.5 as well. I think he's one of the players from our newer generation in which, he's kind of a Mikel type player. Someone who always comes in, does a job, doesn't complain when he doesn't play, moves on. I think today we saw a player who was able to fill in at right wing back to a decent level like he did last season. I think his physicality does wonders for us as well. And otherwise, I think Chelsea are a good team. They're not. I don't know if they're a better team, but they're a good team with him in it. So I think a lot of people have been talking about the summer clear out. I hope he isn't part of it because who else are you going to get who's going to play for our club, who has the capabilities that he has, and for that price. So I think Ruben today 7.5. Not much to complain about. He should have had an assist. Completely crazy that Felix can't see the line, but we'll get to him later. I think he did a job for us.
That chance isn't even mentioned in the stats because it then counted as offside. It doesn't count as a chance created.
Exactly.
So,
But he was good, good right wing back cover. So, you'll be happy, Laurenz. I think a 7.5 is the best rating to go with here.
Fair. I mean, the problem for Ruben is that next season we have Malo Gusto. So when Reece James isn't available, we have Malo Gusto. So Ruben won't just spend all season fitting in at right wing back.
But we will have more midfielders then, you'd think, right? If we play with the 4 at the back, there's more space for him.
Who knows if we're going to play with the 4 at the back? At this
Ruben
point.
back as the 6, baby.
I don't know anyway. I mean, I want Ruben to stick around as a squad option, but I'm aware that a lot of people don't, and I'm aware that the club might just cash in for homegrown, and we need to make some money available if we want someone like Osimhen and proper DM and stuff like that. Who knows? We'll have to see.
He's gonna go play with Sarri.
Excuse me?
He's gonna go play with Sarri at Lazio.
See, the only thing I hate about that is the fact that I hate Lazio, which is the super frustrating thing. I don't want Ruben and Sarri to be.
We need an inquest into why you hate Lazio. What's the connection there?
Because
it's a random team to hate.
The whole fan base is a bunch of fascists and right wing.
All right.
So
I guess me and Pius have the dark
I mean,
we'll
half their ultras are running around with swastikas. So maybe I shouldn't portray the whole club onto the fan base, but
I mean, our fan base is pretty bad as well, to be fair.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if they're that bad though. I mean, they're pretty fucking toxic, but they're not that bad.
Bro, I know, we're English and stuff. Like the
maybe Rory is. Oh, did I say that out loud? My bad.
Fuck's sake,
bro, the guys, the English fans, like last week, were singing the German Bombers song when we've got a German striker. Like, come on.
Yeah. Let's not talk too much about that one. But yeah, Clutch, finish it off for Ruben. Are you going to agree with 7.5 or go for something different?
Just to piss you off, I'm going to give him a 5.
Oh.
No, he's a 7.5. No. Later I'll use this logic, but if he should have arguably had assist if a certain someone, was a little bit smarter today. But so you can't really fault a 7.5. I thought he did really well, other than the slide tackle that could have got a penalty. But luckily, the guy thought he was going to have something to go over, but he didn't. So I'd give him a 7.5. I can't really fault him for anything.
There you go. Just quickly, Raphael. I mean, not we did. A few Chelsea fans did. But if you guys are not aware of the Lazio thing, just do some research into it, and you know why this is a bit more of a broader statement to make than it is about, say, Chelsea fans. Like, trust me, it's not even just the fan base. But I don't want to lean myself too far out the window here, so I'm not going to say it plainly about the club. But
you do live pretty close to there.
I do. Well, not that close, but in American terms, close, I guess. But yeah,
17 miles.
Not quite, bro. But yeah, there you go. All right. I will check quickly on Sofa Score again. Sorry?
Better than Pius living in Ireland.
Are you sure it's not in Scotland or Wales?
Oh, no, it is in Scotland. Yeah, that's right. Because he yelled at me the other day. That's right.
Bro, English people, Scottish and Welsh are no-goes, bro. Come on. Don't do me like that.
Yeah,
there you go. It is what it is.
I
Let's
can't
still
help
end
that
the
part
first.
of it.
I checked on Sofa Score. Pice is not Irish. He's not Scottish. He might be Welsh. No.
We're rivals, man. Come on, like Scottish, Welsh, England. There's rivalry there. Ireland a bit, but you know.
I think it's a lot more than rivalry at this point. But we're not going to go into that.
Which is the weird thing, because at the Olympics you turn up as one team. So talk about that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
Anyway, I was going to say I hate when people call me British, but you know, that's a different topic.
Do I hate being called British when you are from Britain? I
No, I'm
don't know
from
about
England.
that one.
I'm from England. Don't start me on this, man.
The English is part of Britain. It's like saying you're not
It's the biggest island in Britain, dude.
All right, enough about geography. Can we get back into these player ratings? I checked on Sofa Score. Apparently today, Enzo was slightly deeper than Kovacic on average, so we'll go with him first. What an assist. Oh my God, that was so outrageous. Like, that scoop was just out of this world. Most completed passes in the game as well, with 88% of pass completion. That's the only chance he did create, but my God, did he create that one well. Bloody hell. 93 touches too. Accurate long balls, 5 out of 7 is very good. Tackles 1, 2 out of 4. Ground duels, 6 out of 12. Not amazing stats, but acceptable to not like slag him off for it, I would say. Didn't commit a foul, which is a lie. So who can read these stats now? Because he literally got booked. And rightly, no, he didn't get booked. Did he not get booked for when he stamped on Maddison's leg?
No, because they couldn't do it because they did it in the first half. They let Felix.
I mean, yeah, but
the referee did not give a shit today.
I assume the ref just didn't see it rather than purposely choose not to give the correct judgment. But hey, I thought he got booked for that, and he should have been, quite frankly. So apparently he committed no fouls.
Yeah, you guys need to bring up Wesley Fofana's tweet.
Oh yeah.
Leicester fans were singing a song at him, saying like, "Why are you such a CUNT?" And he's just put heart eye emojis to the quote. He's proper loving it. That's brilliant. He's mugging him right off.
But yeah, we're not going to play this out because otherwise it's going to be dodgy. But I think you explained it sufficiently well. Enzo Fernandez, yeah, the assist was outrageous. He did get apparently dribble past 5 times. Again, seems more likely to me than Cucurella being dribble past 7 times. But who knows? I still think we lack a little hint of balance when Enzo and Kovacic play together. Now, maybe that will still come as they get more and more used to each other. But I felt that in all of the last 3 games, against Leeds, against Dortmund, and today, that sometimes we just lose a little bit of balance there. But hey, we've won all 3 games, so this is complaints at a very, very high level. I will give Enzo an 8.5 because the assist was outrageous, but I don't think, because I've seen a couple of people say 9, I don't think it was quite enough overall to go that high, but I got enough. And that assist, well, I mean, we'll be talking about that assist for years to come, I think, because that doesn't happen every day. Wow. Clutch, I'll let you go first. He was dribble past 5 times, so you're going to hold that against him like a Cucurella, or is 5 not bad enough? Because again, I hate this dribble past that, especially now that it says, because did the thing on Maddsion, as Maddison didn't get booked, was it not called as a foul either? Because it says he didn't commit a foul, so now I can't take any of these stats seriously anymore. Regardless, what did you think of Enzo, and what rating would you give him today, mate?
I mean, I said in the group chat I didn't think defensively he was very good, but offensively I thought he was really good, which would back up that dribble pass stat. I did see him he got nutmegged within the first 3 minutes of the game. He had a couple moments where he got mugged off. He did have one good tackle after getting beat at one point. So to be fair to him, I would go for an 8 for him. That was a ridiculous assist. But at the same time, I do think like Enzo needs that DM to bring the most out of him.
There you go. And what rating would you give him in
8.
total? Sorry.
Did you hear that one? 8. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I did. Fair enough. Who do I go with next? Pice. Why don't you go next? An 8 and an 8.5 for Enzo. What would you give him?
It's really difficult because you give Chilwell an 8.5, and I think I don't know. I mean, Enzo had. By the way, he had 2 really good passes. The pass to Havertz, which the one that ended up in the goal, outside of the boot, was ridiculous. By the way, I saw someone post it. I didn't even really realize it, but it was a brilliant ball, which started that attack off. But yeah, just I think the overall balance will probably hurt these 2 ratings. But as I said in the chat, I don't really know whether to blame the players. I think you can't really blame the players. The manager can pick, he can pick Zakaria or someone. So I don't know. I think the balance hurt Enzo a little bit. Yeah, but saying that though, like there was some good. I think there was some good tackles. There was some times where what I do notice with like people are saying, oh, how he's so similar to Jorginho, he gets dribbled past all the time and all that. But I think he makes I think he's got more about him. Like I don't know, like he's just got more I don't know. He's stronger in the tackle, I think, than Jorginho was. So I think there's 2 sides to him. Yeah, I'll probably go with an 8 for that reason. But I mean, the assist is 11 out of 10. That goal is genuinely I'll be watching that when we lose the next game just to make me feel better. It was such a good goal, man. Unbelievable. The thing about Enzo is I see this it was a couple of games. The last game, I think, before we signed him. Before we agreed a deal, it's just how he in a split second he sees something and plays it and it pulls it off. It's just it's ridiculous. I don't understand how he does it. It just needs 0.5 seconds, bang, there's the ball, so good.
Yeah, he is crazy. Someone said was involved in the cover goal as well. Was it?
Yeah, what I said.
I played back to him and then Enzo crossed it to Mudryk. Was that it?
No, Enzo picked up the ball, played an outside ball over the top to Kai.
To Kai. Okay, that's what it was. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, there you go. To be fair, yeah, no, he wasn't. Yeah, he doesn't know that. But yeah, 8. I think it's maybe a tad harsh even. There's a lot of people in the chat seem to want to go for a 9. So 2 8s though for the timing. 2 8s and 1 8.5. Bastian, what are you going to give Enzo Fernandez on the day, man?
If he pulls the pass off to Mudryk for the the offside goal, it would almost be a 10. I think I'd give him an 8.5. I thought he was brilliant, and this is why we signed him. I was having a debate yesterday with one of my friends who's also a Chelsea fan who said he's been terrible. Don't think we've been watching the same player. I think he's been amazing, and I think these passes are the thing that we've signed him for. As Pai said, that was special. The assist that he made for Kai was special. It was great. We haven't had a midfielder since Cesc, who did it to a high level as well, who's been able to even try it. We always, belate our players for not trying stuff, always trying to play delicate passes and stuff. But he went for it. It could, maybe it didn't get pulled off, but at least he tried it. So I thought he was good offensively, as Pai said as well. The pass for Havertz as well, amazing. So technically on the ball, one of the best midfielders. I thought he also got stuck in today a couple of times between the lines. He's not a DM, but he put in a shift anyway, and I think the best way to get something out of him is also to get a DM behind him, to take some of the focus away, because he does have moments where he should be there. We talked about the shot where they hit the bar, I think, where he pressed up. You'd want a DM to be there. But I think overall 8.5. I think personally he'd be my man of the match today. Rolls Royce of a player, and you just watch the 2 assists that he has for us, the one for Felix and this one. So 8.5, so happy we finally got him. And I never thought we'd see the day where I'd be getting taught about fascism in Laos 1507 stream. It's brilliant. It's happening into all sorts of markets.
I'm not sure it's brilliant, but there you go. Right, it is what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, that means though we need a poll, which also means we need to get the results of the Ben Chilwell poll. And unfortunately for myself and Bertram, who also gave the 9, the 8.5 won. So Chile gets an 8.5, and then we'll bring up a poll for Enzo Fernandez. Oh, can't even bloody type. And we bring up a poll for Enzo Fernandez between an 8 and an 8.5. So in a second, when I have placed that, which will be in a second, rating for Enzo Fernandez between an 8 and an 8.5. Place your vote in that poll at the very top of the chat, please. And again, like we did with Chile, in a few minutes, we will come back to it and give the final rating. And then we move on to Mateo Kovacic. I'm thinking, do I give him the same as I gave Enzo, which is 8.5? Or I am generally considering giving him a 9. You know what? I will not go first on this one. I will let Clutch go first. What did you make of Kovacic? Did you think it was better than Enzo? Do you think it was very, very even? What do you think? Obviously, the goal, the bicycle kick, scissor kick, whatever you want to flip and call it. No, it was scissor kick, not bicycle kick. But regardless, it was outrageous finish. Kovacic does not score a lot of goals. But when he does, you make sure there are screamers. Flip sake, man. What finish. And I think we all remember that tackle he had in the middle of the pitch at some point in the first half. Outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. Top performance for him today. Would you agree?
I would agree. I would actually, my rating for Enzo was probably an 8, if I remember correctly. I don't know. Yeah. These things get
That's what you said.
Crazy in my brain. But I would probably go 0.5 higher just for the goal. Because assist goal, I give goals about a 1, assist 0.5. So I think they were about on the same level today. So I'd give him just a little bit more than Enzo. That goal was ridiculous, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at some stats, their pass accuracy was exactly the same. Yes, it was. Just Kova had a few less. Not a lot less, 5 less. So, it's not much in it. Successful dribbles was 2 out of 3. Accurate long balls, 1 out of 1. He attempted a lot less than Enzo, but, it makes sense. Enzo is a bit better at those. Tackles, 1 out of 1. Ground duels, 4 out of 9. So a little bit worse than Enzo in that sense. He was on 50%. But aerial duels, 2 out of 2. So, that's pretty good. Recoveries, he had 8. Enzo had 5. Dribble pass, he had 3. Enzo had 5. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's fairest to give them both the same, but I'm very close to giving him a 9. Pice, would you give him a 9 or would you go 8.5 as well?
Oh, I don't know. Bias wants me to give him a 9. I can't lie.
Be biased, bro.
No, I like to not be biased.
Let it happen.
Thing is, I was actually going to give him and Enzo the same rating, to be honest, because I think they both had one, maybe, Enzo might have even had a couple more good actions with the passes, but I think Kovacic was a tad better defensively, but I still didn't like the balance in midfield. I think Gallagher coming on actually really helped, to be fair, but I'm actually going to give him an 8, the same as Enzo. Yeah, okay. Amazing goal though. Love the goal.
Fair dues. 2 8.5s and 1 8 then. And Bertram, sorry to make you finish it off again, but what do you think? Sorry, because the FOTMob app doesn't show the possession loss stat, and SofaScore does, and apparently lost possession 13 times. How many times did Enzo lose possession? Also 13 times. It's that evens itself out. That's for damn sure. But yeah, Bertram, which way are you gonna push him?
Ties in brilliant. I think I'd give him an 8.5 as well. Finally we get to see a Kovacic goal. I think it's been coming. Really good performance today as well. I think I could not disagree more with the argument that we should sell him. Imagine if we sold him to someone like City. The things he'd do in that system. I thought he was good today. I thought he was defensively sound as well. I would like to see him maybe as with a DM behind him as well. We keep talking about this elusive BM, but I think he was very good. And happy to see him come back from injury as well. It's become a bit of a cliche to say that about Chelsea players. Everyone's come back from an injury. If we didn't, we wouldn't have a squad. So I think 8.5 is a fair rating for Kovacic, and a great goal as well. Great goal.
Very good. And as so far, at least in the poll, the 8.5 is clearly winning for Enzo. In the end, we seem to be giving them both the same rating, which seems fair enough. I think we can probably all agree with that. Let's get to the man it's just won his day today. As much as I, then in the heat of the moment, I get a bit like, oh, shit. But it does seem like after his missus cheated on him, he found happiness in the woodwork. Because, my God, can you stop hitting the woodwork, my guy. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, not even the ones that stood, even a few when he was offside, actually, and then they never counted. Against West Ham, he chipped it against the post and then put in an empty net, but then it was offside, so it never stood. And it was like, this is like the 5th or 6th time he's hit the woodwork now. Stop it. Like, what is this? You remember when Havertz hit the woodwork against Fulham? How the entire fan base lost their shit at him and how shit he is and not scoring one-on-one chances? Havertz had a bouncing ball. Felix just running at the goalkeeper and chipping it against the post every time. My God, Felix, fix yourself. And then why are you giving the ball away, bro? What are you doing that for? Stop that. And then also, I do think I don't want to get too harsh on that, but I do like it. Sorry, it is a bit stupid. You're waiting for a cut across, a cut back, a low cross from Ruben. All you need to do is be behind the ball. And you didn't stay behind the ball. Like, that's the ABC of football, man. Like, as a forward, if you're asking for that kind of cross, you need to stay behind the ball. It wasn't even that close. It was a whole foot, like. So that's, in my opinion, almost the worst thing. Now, the chip is unlucky. Well, no, giving the ball away for the goal, that's the worst. But still, that you need to stay on side, man. You need to just stay on side. And then he was taken off at half-time. I've not heard anything yet. I'm not sure if you have, Pies, in terms of maybe he was a little bit sore because he clearly was fouled for a straight red within 2 minutes of the game by Ricardo Pereira. And then Ricardo Pereira had another, maybe not quite red card tackle, but, clear yellow. He did get booked for it, but it was certainly a dark yellow one, that one. And Ricardo Pereira finished that game on the pitch. How outrageous is that? But yeah, Joao Felix, I have to be honest, you can't really do much worse. You miss a sitter in a one-on-one, you cost us a goal, and you can't stay on side. Now, and this is not the same as when you receive a through ball. When you receive a through ball, staying on side is a bit more difficult because you need to time it. But when you're waiting for a cross, it's a very different discussion to have. All you need to do is stay behind the ball. You're not even moving quick. So I will give him a 4, and arguably that's being nice, if I'm honest. Because, oh boy, that was not good. But let's see what the boys say. Maddsion, we'll let you go first. On everything I've touched on, comment what you want to say, obviously, and then give him your rating.
I think I can agree with the fact that he was unlucky, but I also, I think he was poor today, and I want my rating to reflect that I don't think he was good. I think the things he did, they don't always suit, the Premier League. I think some of the flicks he's trying to do, putting it into areas, they might have worked in Portugal, might have worked in the Liga, but, it doesn't work here. And I think it's clear to see that he isn't a Premier League type player. And what I mean by that is he does things that, someone like Anthony might do. And, it doesn't always pull off. And it looks so stupid when it doesn't. For example, with the goal, when he tries to dribble. And it can always be quite, refreshing seeing someone try things you don't always see. Him and Mason Mount, completely different players in the way they play, even though they play in almost the same position. So I think today, the situation he had where he should have scored is really poor. He should be on there. The situation where he chips it, he could have passed it to Mudryk, stopped the 007 memes earlier than they did. But I think he's been poor. I thought he was poor today. Bit unlucky that after 2 minutes he gets killed with his ankle. I don't know how they didn't check it through. They might have done it and decided not to give it. But come on, man, just book the player. It was a disgraceful challenge. So I give him like a 3.5 maybe. I really thought he was poor. Almost nothing he did pulled off. I think we'll get into it with Mudryk as well, but I think the idea of him playing centrally is, one of Felix or Havertz would run in field, Mudryk would, run out to the outside and possibly cut it in. The issue is Felix, he almost doesn't play it. So whenever he's running up, at Leicester's box, he always, tries to dribble through it for the most of the time. So I think I'd give him a 3.5. I thought he was very poor today. But, clear to see there's a quality player, and we hope to see more from him.
Yeah, there you go. There was good basics there in him. His pass accuracy was 86%, which is good. Long balls far forward, which is good. Ground duels 2 out of 2, which is also good. Possession lost 4 times when you compare that to Enzo and Kovacic. Obviously, only played a half, but still 4 compared to 13. So it's not like he did everything bad, and I also understand why he's not used as the highest one up front, because he's clearly the best in terms of receiving the ball and either passing it off or keeping it on the turn in terms of all of these forward players. And if you put him as the highest up front, well, then he can't do that deeper. So that's where it's like, but Tim Afola, is it just unlucky? Like, how many more times are you going to chip it against the post? I mean, on a one-on-one with the keeper, how many more times is that going to happen? Havertz wasn't deemed unlucky against Fulham. Why is Felix deemed unlucky? I don't understand. Havertz one was a trillion times more difficult. I just don't understand. I understand a new signing, it's a little bit more leeway until he does things badly for long enough. I understand that completely. But as judging one-off individual situations, I'm a little bit confused. But hey, here we are. A 3.5 and a 4 then. I didn't expect anyone to go much lower than I did, to be honest. But hey, here we are. 3.5 and a 4 so far. Pice, I feel like you're going to bring it back up a little bit, but I'm sure also you can't be particularly happy with a couple of the things that Felix did today.
Yeah, no, I'm not, but you guys have been way too harsh. I think Felix is clearly a fantastic player. I mean, if you guys just need to use your eyes a little bit,
But does being a fantastic player, like Messi is clearly a fantastic player, doesn't mean he's never had a bad game.
He didn't have a bad game, in my opinion.
Awful.
I think
he did all the bad things a player can do. Cost you a goal.
Pius, do you mind? Can I go before you?
Worse than
Can I go before you, Pius?
Go on.
0.
All right.
No. I'm dead serious. 0.
Ridiculous.
Man. And I'm gonna preface this with
Felix
is my. Hold on. Wait.
You guys are gonna eat your words on Felix. I'm telling you now.
But we're not eating any words. Well, I mean, I'm not sure if anybody else, but I'm not saying Felix is bad. All I'm saying is today he was bad.
How can you say that one-on-one was a sitter? That is not a sitter at all.
What?
He's literally unlucky. He's running onto the ball and he's got to chip it against the keeper.
You just say one-on-one with the goalkeeper is not a sitter. What else is a sitter?
It's not a sitter because he's not even centrally in the goal. He had to chip it wide to try and get it in the net. It wasn't a sitter.
Well, he could have chipped it centrally and then he wouldn't have hit the fucking post.
It would have been saved if he chipped it centrally.
Well, unless he chips it high enough. The goalie isn't 7 meters tall, is he?
I think you guys are you want to be fair because the other players caught slack, but it's I don't know. We've discussed it before. I don't think it's like that.
Again,
I don't think you judge a player.
I would love to play you a clip of your reaction to that Kai miss against Fulham because it was so much more difficult than Felix's today, and you slandered Kai.
I think Kai had way more time than Felix did. He literally watched the ball.
He watched the ball and then receiving a ball. Felix literally was running with the ball at his feet.
No.
The best part of that was the touch that Felix got to actually put the ball ahead of him.
If Felix scores that, you guys are going, "What an amazing finish!" But because he didn't,
exactly, and he didn't score it.
So it's a sitter then. What is it? Is it an amazing finish or is it a sitter? If he scored, I don't understand that.
It's a good.
It's either an easy goal or
the goalie nicely. But if
it's
you
either
go
an easy
and
goal
choose
or
to chip rather than going round the keeper, which you could have also done, and miss for the third time that you attempt the chip and miss every time you've attempted it so far. That's bad, man. Like, you can't just say it weren't bad. Like, fair enough if you think the 4 is too harsh, that's okay. But you can't say it's not a big chance they miss. Come on, bro. It's one-on-one with the goalkeeper. There's no bigger chance in football than that.
But it's not a sitter though. There's a difference between a big chance and a sitter.
As a sitter, if not that, man.
I can bring up many situations where you called it a sitter. That was the exact situation, and you went off on them.
Felix had more of a sitter
Havertz, Mount. I can go off on. I can literally name like 17 different examples of that.
Felix and I get more of a sitter against Dortmund than he did today when he hit the keeper from like 2 yards out. That was more of a sitter than today's one.
I see the chat going off when you say these things. Not you personally, but when we like give him a bad rating, it's not like, oh, well, he's dog shit. Get him out of the club. You judge people based. I guess I have to preface this. Felix is my second favorite player on the team, and I still gave him a 0 because he did nothing right other than maybe could have.
He did though. Like he started off so many attacks. He's always the one that drops deep and starts the attack and gets the ball and plays it out wide and does everything. He's the only one who has confidence to get on the ball, dribble, do all this. Like, yeah, it cost us today when he tried to over dribble. But don't you want players doing that? Like,
yes, on average, but he didn't do that today. He was ass.
No, he wasn't at all.
He was hot ass.
No, he wasn't, man. You guys watched Werner for 2 years and think Felix is.
And I was watching the same fucking thing today. It was almost watching Werner for
Get out of it, Clutch. Get out of it, Clutch. Get out of it. It's completely different. I'm so glad we have Felix on our team, bro. I've gone through so much.
I had like 17
why you're mixing those two conversations. No, none of us said he's as bad as Timo Werner. No one said that.
So
no one said he's a bad player either.
Appreciate good footballers a bit more. Then that's all I'm trying to say.
But he wasn't a good footballer today. He tried to dribble within 25 yards of our goal, lost the ball, cost us a goal, and decided to go for a fancy finish instead for the simple one and missed it.
Why is this such a hard thing for people to
stay onside when he could literally see where the ball is?
Why is this? Again, why do I have to say this 5 fucking times? Felix is my second favorite player, yet I still gave him a 0 because he was bad today. That doesn't mean I want him off the team. In fact, I've said it in the group chat. If it was between Felix and Nkunku, I want Felix. But I'm not getting that. So it doesn't matter. For this game, he was bad. End of story. He cost us a goal, quite literally, because he tried to out-dribble 3 fucking defenders. He, for whatever reason, doesn't understand offsides rule. And the other one, he just couldn't chip the keeper or go around him. It's not that hard. 3 instances of negative. That's why you got a 0 on my part.
And what about
3
the rest
instances
of the game?
of negative, we tend to go off on players. Like if this was Mason Mount or if it was Kai Havertz, we'd be going absolutely fucking ham on them.
I mean, I agree that Clutch went too hard with the 0 because yes, he had 3 really bad moments, but he was good, was acceptable at least outside of those 3 moments. So that's why I didn't give him a 0.
Again, I keep seeing the chat say awesome player. Yes, he is probably the most talented player not named Reece James we have. But at the end of the day, he was still shit.
Well,
Pius, could I ask quickly, why would you give him a higher rating?
Before you ask the question, Bertrand, Pius, can you give us your rating for Felix? Because I don't think you ever did.
I'd give him a 5.
Okay. So yeah, not too different to what I said. So I don't know why it went so different. But
Clutch said 0, and you guys said like 3.
No, I gave him a 4, but you gave him a 3.5. Clutch said 0. No one else did.
I think his overall performance was like a 6, but the mistakes are a 5. Because I think overall he did.
Why is it only 1 point lower for that? Because I agree with you. The base performance was average.
I don't think like
mistakes. So I'm going 4.
I mean, the offsides thing. I mean, I don't know. I don't usually slander players that much for being offside unless it's like 3, 4, 5 times in a game. So I don't think it's too deep. It's not like he was miles offside. The only bad thing he did was the trying to dribble out for me personally. I disagree on the 1-on-1. I don't think, again, like you literally admitted it would have been a great finish if he scored, but then because he didn't, it's a sitter. Like it's either an easy goal or a great finish. Your first sentence was it was a good goal, and I agree with that. It's not a great finish. It's you're a super talented player 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper, man. If I can't expect you to score that, then I'm watching the wrong sport because super
the best players in the world can't be expected to be only the goalkeeper. How does anyone ever score? Because usually you have defenders to beat as well. He only had a goalie, and it's Danny Ward as well. He's not even a good goalie.
But if I could preference it, if I could
3.5, 4, 5, and 0. The 0 is still a bit harsh, but hey, what does that equal out to? I guess 3, roughly.
Oh my god, bro! His performance was not a 3 at all. It's so bad.
I agree with that. But hey, you know what? I'll do the calculations properly. 4 plus 5 plus 3.5 plus 0. Well, not plus 0, just enough. But divided by 4 is 3.12. So a 3 he gets. Fair enough. Well. There you are. Sorry, Pies, they just aren't happy about this. But hey, like I say, I would have given him a 4. Here we are. Let's somehow Mudryk was the one up front. You know what? Actually, instead of being angry at each other, can we? I sound like a casual. All right, sometimes. You go. Not expect your best players to score a 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper. But I want you all to keep that same energy when Havertz doesn't do it. By the way. Just when you remember that.
Oh, I'm making mental.
I remember Pice putting in the group chat, for fuck's sake, Havertz when he shot from over 18 yards and put it wide.
Yeah, he literally scored a screamer last game. Why isn't he consistent? Like, he couldn't score that, or at least do better.
Because it was a weak foot. That's his own separate situation. The one thing I want to highlight quickly. These 2 things. Look at what Marty's leg is. Look at it. How's that? He didn't even get booked.
Havertz's stomach is literally red with fucking boot marks. It's ridiculous.
And literally, you know how dangerous this is for Joao Felix. He literally has all his weight on that leg as he literally gets stunned into the side of his shin. Like that is insane. VAR absolutely robbed us. Like, absolutely. That's ridiculous. Because the ref maybe doesn't see quite how bad it is. That happens. So in this occasion, yeah, the ref's an idiot and should see it, but it happens that sometimes you don't. Like, you only have your eyes. You don't have a replay. It is what it is. But VAR should fucking see this, man. Like, how is what? Baffling. Absolutely baffling. Absolutely robbed. And that makes me even more happier about the win today, because usually we get absolutely destroyed when the ref robs us. But today we won, even though the ref robbed us. So I'm very happy with that. Let me get to the super chat before we move on to Havertz and Mudryk's rating. Adash says, appreciate it very much. He says, Felix' choice to make the chip. If he'd done that, it would have been a good finish. He should judge what finish gives him the best chance to score. Yeah, and then I don't care what finish you go for. Just score it. Do you know what I mean? But you can't for the third time chip every time and then hit the post every time.
What rating would you have given him if he scored that chip? Out of interest.
But still gave away the goal and still didn't manage to stay onside for the cross.
Yeah, just scored. Like, what would you have given him?
Because it would have been a huge goal in that moment. Would it have been a 1-0 or 2-0 at the time?
2-0.
2-0.
Yeah. So probably would have given him I don't know. Either 5.5 probably.
Well, if he scores that, he doesn't give away the goal as well. So it massively, it's two mistakes that get into one, very big positive as well.
Yeah, that is true. But if we imagine in a hypothetical world where he scores it but still does the other things, I'd probably say 5.5, 6. Probably what I'd give him then. Just because, like, the two mistakes, to me, that offside thing is not... It's because it's not just a normal offside, like when you get a through ball and, like, you have to time the run and stuff. You're just... All you need to do is take one step backwards and stay onside as you're waiting for the cross. That's all you need to be doing, really. So that one's quite simple. But hey, here we are. We get another super chat by Richard. Appreciate it very much. With the $20, my guy. Still, the craziest thing about you, other than the amount of super chats you give, is the haircut. I really would love to know the background of that haircut. But hey, I rate it, mate. He says, people can get mad if they want, but we are really celebrating wins against Leicester and Leeds. Southampton, like we just won the league. Then we will lay an egg against any team mid or higher. Well, we don't know that yet. Maybe we will just win every game until the end of the season. Who knows? Might happen. Unlikely, but might happen. Yeah, but the reason why we do that is because before that, we couldn't beat anyone. So, like, it's just how football fans work. We can't, when you only win 2 out of 17 games and then you win 3 in a row, let's be happy about winning 3 in a row. No? I think so anyway. But hey, here we are. Let's get to Kai Havertz. Scored, really nice goal. Now, the finish wasn't as good as the pass, but the finish was actually also really good because, he chipped the goalkeeper and scored. So, apparently that's super difficult. I'm joking. But yeah, he was good otherwise as well. I don't think he was quite as remarkably brilliant as he was against Dortmund, but he still played really, really well overall. 89% pass accuracy. Shot accuracy was 2 out of 4. He could have had another one with that header, but the goalie actually made a good save on that one. What are the others? Successful dribbles 1 out of 5. That pass not so great. He was much better at that against Dortmund, but accurate long balls 2 out of 3. His pass to who did he play through? Wait, didn't he play the pass to Felix, actually?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So that was a wonder ball. The tackles 1, 2 out of 3. That's good. Ground duels 4 out of 11 is not that amazing. 2 out of 6 aerial duels also not that amazing. And he was never fouled, but committed 3 fouls. But he scored, played really well, should have had an assist. I will give him... I don't know, really. What's the chat saying? What's the chat saying about Kai Havertz's rating? Someone said 8. Someone said 9. Another one said 8. Dre Tullock said 9.5. And the pre-assist for Kova is true. It's true. I will say 8.5. Just because a few of the stats, like 1 out of 5 dribbles, the 2 out of 6 aerials, 4 out of 11 ground duels. Even though maybe I'm putting too much emphasis on that for his position and the way he plays. But yeah, no, 8.5. Maybe 9. But 8.5, I think is fair. Was very, very good today, and I'm happy to see it. I just hope he continues it for more than 2 games, because the last 2 games were absolutely brilliant. Pice, what would you give Kai Havertz? 8.5 is about the region you'd go, or would you go for something different?
It's between an 8 and an 8.5. I give Cover and Enzo an 8.
You did.
Oh, I don't know. This is difficult because if I go higher than them two, then. But I mean, Just trying to think if he was more influential. I think perhaps he was, to be fair. I think he was at the centre of most of our attacks. He played a really good pass as well. Who was that to, like, across?
To Felix, to when Felix missed the chip.
Oh, was it? Okay, yeah. I think he did a couple of those last game as well against Dortmund. That, to be fair, I didn't think his passing was. I didn't think he pulled off those. So fair play. I don't know. This is really difficult. I don't know if I can decide. It's either an 8 or an 8.5.
Okay, we'll see what the other boys say. Maybe it doesn't matter, and if it does, I'll come back to you. I'll take it to Maddsion. What do you think? 8.5 and maybe an 8 so far. What would you give Kai Havertz on the day?
I think, putting everything in, I'd give him an 8.5 as well. It was a really, really good ball to Felix that we haven't talked about. Just right in his path as well. I think, as people are saying in the chat, March Kai Havertz is here. I think he's always a tough player to rate because the way he plays football is so slow and so lethargic, but it's creative and it works. He scored, and he almost should have had another one if it wasn't for Danny Ward. But that finish, we can't sleep on it. We do love the pass, but the finish as well. It's a tough finish. Danny Ward being over, it's not that far out. Chipping him and getting it under the bar as well. A really, really, really good finish, top quality. So I think I'd give him an 8.5 as well. I think he's been very good these last couple of games. Interesting that Mount isn't playing when he's playing well, which, make of that what you will. But I think Kai Havertz was really, really good today. And he also, I think our front three didn't press as well, but I think of the front three, he was the one that pressed the best. So putting all that together, I think an 8.5 is definitely warranted for Kai. Great performance.
Fair. And Delors, sin, whatever. You did say that yesterday, to be fair to you, so fair play. Got to give you props where props is due. Clutch, 2 8.5s, one somewhere in between that hasn't fully been decided yet. What are you going to give Kai today, man?
A 9.
Fairs.
He's my man of the match. He, in my opinion, probably was the most involved in all the attack. Again, Bertram just touched upon it. Mudryk and Felix had zero desire to press. I don't know if that was a Potter thing or not, but Havertz was literally the one opportunity that you talked about in the group chat where you were like, where's our midfielders at? He came from where he was at to where Felix was at. Mudryk didn't rotate over to get the press, which brought Enzo out of position, which just pretty much opened us up like butter. I
guess you could make the argument maybe Kai shouldn't have shifted inside.
Well, he was directing people to press and they weren't doing it.
But if he's directing them wrongly, then I'm just saying, because if he leaves his position and then expects someone to fill his position, you need, I agree with you. I think you're probably right, but in terms of we don't know exactly what the instructions are, so we don't know if he was supposed to shift inside or not there. So I don't know. I don't think it's that big a moment for anybody. That is I don't know.
Also, Mbappe's not coming. Get it out of your brain.
Yeah, people need to accept that. Mbappe is not coming to Chelsea, man. Stop it. Stop talking about it, my God. But yeah, go on.
Oh, that's all I had. We're good.
Oh, that's all you had. Fair enough. Price, it doesn't change anything really. It will be an 8.5 regardless. But have you made your mind up?
I think I'm going to give him an 8 just because I give Enzo an 8. Maybe they should both be 8.5s, but yeah.
But Enzo will get an 8.5 to be fair overall, but you said 8.
All right then, 8.5.
Fair enough.
I think they were so influential in the attacking moments today, both of them. So yeah, creative wise, Enzo was the one that played the pass Havertz for the second goal, and then he switched in. So yeah, I think I want those both on the same rating for me.
Fair. That's what it will be, because the poll in the chat for Enzo Fernandez rating did one of the clearest votes we've ever had, really. 8.5 won with 79%. So that's what he will get. 2 8.5s for the two midfielders, alongside Kai Havertz and Ben Chilwell. Maybe one of them deserved a tad more than the others, but hey, that's what you get when you have 4 people giving ratings plus a chat rather than one individual. Let's get to Mikhailo Mudryk. I'm still confused as to exactly why he played up front, because it's not like he spent all afternoon making run after run after run. So it's not like that seemed to quite be the plan. His pass accuracy really wasn't good, 68%. But to be fair, for the one that plays highest forward, that is the most difficult. So that's somewhat okay. He supposedly created 2 chances. I don't remember the other one outside of Kovacic, if I'm honest. But hey, apparently he did. He had only 37 touches, but 37 is only better than like 7, like someone had. Successful dribbles, 0 out of 2. I mean, tackles I'm not going to look too much into, but ground duels 1 out of 8, air duels 1 out of 4. Again, I'm not going to criticize a winger that's playing striker for not winning aerial duels. But my biggest criticism of him was, and even though it's clear that at the moment at the Potter we're not planning to press high, we don't press anyone high other than in specific moments, maybe against like Dortmund. But in general, we have a mid-block press where we let the opponent get to the halfway line and then we jump on them like crazy people. But until the halfway line, we kind of leave them alone for the most part. That's just what we do now. But I still think that Mudryk's off-the-ball work was nowhere near hard enough. Like, the amount of time he was just like, you're not Messi, bro. You don't have the right to just stand and walk about. Like, if Havertz can run around, if Felix can run around, you better be running around. Do you know what I mean? I'm glad for him that he avoided the 007 jokes. I'm glad that he got the assist. And it's a good header, actually. It's a good header. But he still left a lot of work to do for Kovacic. And the main part of that goal certainly goes to Kovacic and to Havertz rather than to Mudryk. But hey, he got his assists, a fair play to him. What rating am I going to give him? I disagree with Pice that he was worse than Felix. Now, in the grand scheme of things, in terms of, average play, sure. But, one didn't cost us a goal, one didn't miss it. So, but on rating, even despite the assist, I'm thinking, what would I have given him without the assist? I think I would have given him like a 4.5. So with the assist, I'm going to give him a 5. I wonder if people think that's too harsh or fair. I'm really intrigued what people are going to say about that. But we'll see. Maddsion, I'll let you go first on this one. What do you think?
I think a 5 is quite harsh. If I'm honest, I think 6, if you just played a decent game, I think it's clear to see that, we bought him from Shakhtar, that he needs to settle into the Premier League. It is the toughest league in the world. And I think he didn't look good today, if I'm honest with you. But he did have some good moments. I think the header as well, he does create the goal. He should have had, a one-on-one if Enzo plays with that pass earlier when
and he did score.
I think he did score. He did score. And I think, that's the ideal way that I'd use him. I think he's going to be quite influential in our upcoming Champions League games when we play against teams, who aren't as deep as Leicester. I think starting him up front is quite weird. I think the idea was to, play passes to him inside the box so he could finish from, of course it is, but so he could finish from the angles. But I didn't think he was that good. I didn't think he, wanted the ball as much when we played, especially in the first half. It kind of seemed like he was just waltzing around. But that being said, I think he had some good moments. He had the Hazard dribble where he passed it to Ruben, which I thought was quite good, a good set of tempo. So I'd personally give him a 6.5, given the assist. If he didn't have the assist, I think a 5 or 5.5 would have been warranted. But that does make a difference. As Clutch says, you do get pluses up if you get assists or goals. So personally, above average, 6.5 for Mudryk.
Okay. I'm thinking now because I do agree with you that Enzo's pass should have come sooner. I think Mudryk actually timed the run well, and then Enzo should have just passed a split second earlier, and then he would have been onside. But if we get to a point where we give players almost as if they did score, just because the pass came too late, we'll end up in crazy business at some point where we argue, okay, should the bars have come earlier? Or did the run start too soon? Like, whose fault is it mainly and stuff? In this one, I think it is quite, and Enzo could have just played it a bit quicker, or Mudryk expected it to come a bit quicker, hence he started the run. But maybe 5.5, maybe I would give him that. But
do you think he was under average? You didn't even think he played,
honestly,
an average game?
If I'm honest.
Honestly, he was terrible.
He didn't get himself involved enough. He didn't receive the ball enough. He only had 37 touches. When he received the ball, he got bullied so much. I know he's not a striker. He's not used to necessarily being up against centre-halves, and he's come from the Ukrainian league. He's not played that much in the Prem. So to be up against Premier League centre-backs, I'm sure is something he needs to get used to. I understand, but still, yeah. As much as I understand maybe where some of the issues that he experienced today came from, that still doesn't mean there weren't issues, if that makes sense. So I raised it to 5.5. but I won't give him the 6. I'll say 5.5, and I won't give him the 6. But you obviously said 6.5, so therefore we sit at a 6 for the time being. I know Clutch is going to be probably quite the harshest on this one, so I will get to Pice first. A 5.5 and a 6.5 so far, even though I'm still not sure if I might prefer a 5. I don't know yet. But what about you, Pice? What would you give Mudryk? Surely you should give him like a 9 because he assisted Kovacic.
I mean, that would be great, but I mean, personally, I think he's, a bit of a project, bit of a personal project for Graham Potter. I think after the game, he said, he's not had a lot of league experience, and he needs to, he was saying a whole bunch of things. I can't remember, but yeah, it sounds like his Graham Potter's personal little project at the moment, which, hopefully he'll come good. I was very confused why he played up front today. I thought he was extremely isolated. Having said that, though, when he got the ball, I don't think he was very good at all. He got the ball and played it out wide, but I mean, I'd expect like 40-year-old or however old he is, Didier Drogba to do that, to be honest with you. I could play that pass out wide. Would be a nice sequence, but not hard.
Yeah, no, the pass out wide wasn't the difficult part, but the move to how he dropped first, received the ball on the turn, made play quick, and then played it wide, that's the good part, rather than the pass itself.
I mean, Felix may have had more, like, big moments, costly big moments, but in terms of on the ball, I mean, Mudryk lost the ball 15 times, whereas Felix only lost possession 4 times. So,
but I mean, Kova lost it 13 times. So if you're going to be harsh for that reason, then
yeah, but it's not right. In the key moments, you want your attackers to be solidified with the ball. So, I don't think he was great, but I think play him left wing. Next game, give him 90 minutes at left wing and just see what he can do, because I do think he looked a bit more lively on the left hand side. Also, he's won 2 out of 12 total duels. So yeah, I'm gonna give him a 4.5. Me personally,
I just said the 4 for Felix was harsh, mate. You are crazy. But anyway, hey, each to their own. 4.5, which I guess puts
individually worse than Felix today for me.
5.5 for the time being. Clutch, what are you gonna give him?
Overall a 5. I think the assist does give him a little bit of leeway. His first 5 touches were decent, and after that, fucking terrible. Everything that he did was fucking terrible. He lost the ball too many times.
So a 0 then, Clutch?
No. Felix cost us 3 opportunities, bro.
Lost the ball 15
3 times.
Felix only 4.
Did any of them cause a goal? No. Did any of them stop us from scoring a goal?
No. So really, it was individual moments, not the actual performance over 90 minutes that we're rating on now.
Which we do all the time. We do that all the fucking time. I will literally go back to like streams from last year of you going off on players, and it will literally be the same fucking thing. It's just not Felix. And I'm able to hold my bias off. I really am. Felix cost us more than Mudryk did today. And that's me saying that. People who think I'm a fucking Mudryk hater.
But you give Kovacic a higher rating than me, though, so I'm not biased, am I?
I told you to go with your bias. You said you wanted to do a 9. I told you to go for it. It doesn't matter, bro. Like, I would give him a 5. Mudryk, 4.5 for his actual overall performance, and then 0.5 for the assist.
To be fair, that's what I said initially. Then I got let Bertram rope me into giving him a 5.5 because now that my actual change of mind is decided whether he gets a 5 or a 5.5. Because if I add it up and I add 2 5s rather than my 5.5, then that gets him 4.25, which is, I guess you could I'll round it up to 5.5 regardless. So he gets a 5.5, I suppose. Bertram, doing his job as Everton optimist. So I like it. And now we get to the substitutions. As happened recently, the first sub of the day is always Conor Gallagher. I think a lot of us aren't maybe always the biggest fans of that situation. But to be fair, on those last 3 occasions, he did well every time he came on. So we can't be too critical, I suppose. Clutch, Conor Gallagher, you were also like, if Gallagher's the first sub, you're going to be fuming. But, I mean, he cleared one off the line. He gave us some more stability in midfield. As he does, ran his socks off, gave us a little bit more control. So did well, no? And he played a full half, so we can't give him a proper rating, actually.
I meant if he came on if Felix was hurt, because he was warming up when Felix took that bad challenge.
Yeah,
and I was like, if he would have came on at that point, that would have really pissed me off. Because I see Gallagher. When I see Gallagher, I think, well, Potter's trying to kill the game off. Because he's not going to offer you a lot offensively. He's going to offer you that work rate, but again, he did have a really good clearance off the line. He was in a good position, helped out the midfield quite a lot. I'd give him a 7, to be honest. I thought he was pretty good for that half.
Fair dues. Give him a 7. I will put it up on screen in a second. I'm just writing down the subs first. Okay, a 7 for Gallagher from your end. Maddsion, what are you going to give Gallagher?
I feel a 7.5, if I'm honest. I thought he was quite good, very energetic. I thought he did offer us something offensively today. Maybe you'd wish for more, but I think he did offer us something offensively. I think he fills his role in decently. We were all worried when he was warming up for Felix because we don't want him playing a front three. That's hard to say. All right. But I think he was good, and I think he's beginning to show why we have a player like him, because he's very energetic. He's able to. We have players like an Enzo would rather pass it out from the midfield, where Gallagher is more, he always sprints. It's like Kovacic. So I think he's been good, and I think he made a case today on why we should keep him, because he does bring something. And that challenge that he makes, the block, it's almost as good as getting a goal, if we're honest with each other, because 2-2 there, the game swings. I don't think we win. So I think props, I think we give him a 7.5.
Fair dues. You know what? I'm going to agree before I let Pice get to it. He had a pass accuracy of 90%, 19 out of 21 in that second half. Successful dribbles, 2 out of 2. Tackles, 1 out of 2. Ground duels, 5 out of 7. The highest of maybe anyone, actually, on the pitch that played 45 minutes or more. So, fair play, to be honest. Now, is he always the most creative and best when we have, obviously, attacking moments? No, I think we're all aware of that. But that's not what he's on the pitch to do. He is on the pitch to do multiple things. And one of those was clearing it off the line. And I think if you watch it back, not only was it a clearance on the line, the defender actually tried to wrong foot him, because Gallagher was already on the way into the other corner trying to block it there. And then he notices that the ball goes the other direction. He somehow turns and still gets his foot on it. So, it's not only a block on the eye. It's actually a really impressive block on the eye. It's very good. Fair play to him. I'm even tempted to give him an 8, if I'm honest, because was he better in the grand scheme of things than Ruben? Because he played 45 minutes. That's enough to give a full rating. Maybe I think he was. Nah, I'll stick to the same. I just think maybe these 3 I still find a bit harsh. I mean, to be fair, I gave probably 0.5 higher to at least Cucurella. But hey, 7.5, then 2 of those, and 1 7 from Clutch. Pice, what are you going to give him?
Gallagher, I'll give a 7.5. Thought he was really good, to be fair. I mean, seems like it's Potter's favourite super sub at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gives us a lot of energy. I feel he gives us more balance. Got stuck in as well. Sometimes I worry about his defensive work. Sometimes he can give a stupid foul away in a stupid position. But I thought he did really well today. That clearance off the line was massive, and really the positioning of a Thiago Silva there. He was anticipating that shot and the volley was going to come in. It did kind of go back to another player, but that's where Fofana, got his big rating for that tackle was so good as well. So, initially I was a bit pissed off because I was like, why is he coming on the front 3? But it looked like then it was like a 3-5-2, so understood it a little bit more. Although, it's nothing against Gallagher, but I don't know. I would have liked to send Zakaria personally, but Gallagher played quite well, to be fair. So I think he deserves that rating. You guys have already mentioned the stats, and I think with the block, good super sub. I've always said he's good off the bench. He's very rarely let us down. So,
very true.
Yeah, it's a nice option to have. And it's someone that, doesn't... I don't think every player wants to start, but I don't think he minds coming off the bench. He's one of those players that you can just bring on and he'll give 110% for the badge. So, yeah, players like that we've got to appreciate, I think, while they're here.
Absolutely. I agree. Pulisic and Chalobah, I guess we give those 2 a rating. Honestly, I just keep it simple. I give them both a 6. They both did well. They both didn't give the ball away, nothing crazy, but they didn't really do anything crazy in either direction. That's I can highlight as particularly impressive. I mean, if you want me to shift it round, well, in the end, was it Cover or Enzo that was deepest? Because Gallagher was kind of playing here by the end, and it was kind of at that one, and Pulisic was over there. How was it?
Pulisic was on the right.
Pulisic was on the right. Chukwuemeka was left wing. Yeah, of course. That's how it was. By the end, then, and Chalobah was right back with Badiashile in the end, left centre back, and Koulibaly right centre back. So that's how we finished the game. I think it was like that. Maybe you can debate it was like that. I don't really know. Doesn't really matter. No. But would you boys agree with simple sixes for Pulisic and Chalobah? I don't think either of them did enough to get any more than that. Would you agree, Clutch?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I didn't see a lot from either of them.
Yeah. To be fair, Pulisic first start of the game was really bad, but after that he sorted himself out and was good again, so fine. No problem. That happens. Price, you in agreement for the sixes for them too as well?
Almost wanted to give... who's the second one? Chukwuemeka?
No, Chalobah and Pulisic.
Oh, Chalobah. Almost want to give them both their noses, to be honest. Like, Pulisic, did he... I remember him running down the right side once. I think he won a throw. I honestly don't remember hardly anything from either of them. So
he had 14 touches, 10 passes, 90% of them completed.
Damn. I didn't remember anything from either of them, to be honest.
Yeah. And Chalobah played 25 passes and completed 96% of them. So... but
true.
Obviously kept it super simple. That's why I would just give him a 6. I mean,
yeah, fair enough.
And they came on in the 73rd, and there was 7 minutes of injury time as well. But for Chukwuemeka and
it feels like they came on way later than that. Maybe I was just in relax mode or something. I don't know.
Because, although at the time it was only 2-1. So.
Yeah, so it definitely wasn't. So I don't know why I didn't notice more of them, but yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Bertram, though, do you agree on the sixes for both, or would you go for something different?
Yeah, I think sixes are fine. I think Pulisic actually he did play a part in the Kava goal, saving a ball from going out. I think I can't remember who passed it to him, but it was quite wayward. So he did well to keep it on. The play continued. Enzo got it and played through. So if I had to give one of them a 6.5, I think him. I thought they were all right, but I agree with Pais. There's no way they came on in the 73rd minute. 20 minutes on. Yeah, they did, but. It seemed like later as well. They played more than 20 minutes, which I can't recall. But fair enough. I think it's good subs we have on offer as well.
It's very true. And we didn't even use Zakaria or Ziyech or Madueke. And we have Kante, Reece James, Thiago Silva, Sterling, and I suppose Aubameyang unavailable. So I've got a standing stack. We just need to actually put it down on the pitch. Sorry, you were saying?
Aubameyang will never play for Chelsea unless Havertz gets hurt.
Yeah. The Napoli winger is insane. The Kvaradonna, as they call him in Napoli, which I'm a big fan of Kvaradonna. Because no one
you want me to send you that goal?
Can they? Sorry?
You want me to send you that goal so I can find it?
Yeah,
it was literally Hazard. It was he went and was just cutting through people.
He's so good. He looks like a Jack Grealish with pace and actual shooting capabilities. At least his body hair and where he has his socks looks like Jack Grealish. Maybe nothing else is like Jack Grealish, but the hairy legs and the low socks, that looks like Jack Grealish. But the last thing we need, shall I turn it back into the old formation? No, I cannot be bothered. Let's finish it off with a rating for Graham Potter. I said yesterday, oftentimes, when you stopped winning for a long time and then you finally win a big game, even though we also, of course, beat Leeds before Dortmund, still, it's often the most difficult to win the next game. And I think we did well today. I think Potter coached a good game today. Potter was also changed formation mid-game. That gave us more stability, helped us see out the game even better. Other than me still finding it a little bit weird that he played Mudryk up front, because I haven't seen him in one of the other two positions. I mean, I'm not the manager. I haven't seen it in training. So he's certainly better positioned to judge whether that's a valid option to do or not. So fair play. I'm not sure if this is necessarily already okay, now we're definitely having Potter until God knows when, or are the next few weeks going to change everything again and we're all going to be fuming. But I want to give a little bit of credit because he was under a lot of pressure and he was struggling, and you could see it. You could see it in him. You could see how he was starting to react to the media. You could see just how like it became tough. And you could also see it from a few of the comments that players made, especially Kai Havertz after the Dortmund game, how, you know, people maybe don't see things, but I think what the players really appreciated over the last few weeks is that with how bad things were, that Potter never once got even close to throwing any of them under the bus. And I think the players, when you have this bad of a run, will appreciate that. That might not mean they think you're the best manager in the world. They might not think your tactics are the best in the world. Those are separate discussions. But in terms of on a personal level, of a man-to-man level, they will appreciate that he stood up for them the way he did, even though he was under as much pressure as he was. And to come out of 2 wins out of 17 to win 3 in a row, yes, in the league it was only Leeds and only Leicester, who are both in somewhat of a relegation fight. But they were huge. You know, we had easy games before that, and we didn't win those. So we turned that round. We have another week to go now to Everton, and then we have an international break. So if we can finish this kind of little mini part of the season before the next international break off with 4 wins, that would be pretty good. On the day today, I don't think there's much to criticize, honestly. I think the subs made sense. I personally was okay with Felix getting subbed off, even if he wasn't hurt, because I just think it wasn't his day, and it didn't feel like it was ever going to be his day today. So just take him off. He's played a lot anyway, so like, you know, might as well. Would I have picked Gallagher for him? Maybe not, but it worked, so I can't complain. So I will give Potter. Conceded. We scored 3 goals for the first time since October as well. I'm genuinely going to give Potter a 9. I don't think he does that much that he could have done better today. I'm not sure if the cameras didn't show him as much today as they did, for example, against Dortmund, but, you know, he seemed to certainly be given all sorts of instructions when he brought players on and stuff. So, yeah, I'll say 9. Maybe people think that's too high, but I think on the basis of all of the pressure and how he's turned it around, at least for those 3, that's good. So, you know, I do enjoy that. Clutch, I will let you go first. Do you think my 9 is too high, or what would you give Graham Potter today?
I mean, if you're judging him also on like how hard he's had it and being able to slightly turn around and even the position that we were in, then I don't think the 9's too harsh. I think to steady the ship and go back to what you know instead of trying what you may feel is the best route forward and going back to what you know. I mean, that's what managers do sometimes. I don't necessarily agree with the back 3. I'd probably give him an 8 for today. I thought there was everything set up the way you can. Unfortunately, I think Mudryk should have been, if you were going to play him here, probably try him on one of the 2-10 positions. But at the end of the day, it worked out, and Kai Havertz looked good, so I don't think it really mattered. You're muted, bro. You're muted.
Sorry, thank you. Just to react to what Khalid just said here, this panel wants to Potter out next. Now, Bertram, actually, I'm not sure if he did. 1,000,000%. Did you at some point after Spurs and Southampton?
No, I thought, I didn't want him out then.
Okay.
Close after Spurs, though. Close after Spurs.
Okay, so not the entire panel, but what that shows about us is that we still rate him highly now, that we don't have an agenda. So if he does well, we will praise him. If he doesn't, we will criticize him. So
you know what gets me?
You shouldn't try to mug us off for.
I think this guy has me blocked on Twitter. So if you're coming for me, bro, then I'm still Potter out. What are you saying?
Thing is, here's what gets me is like, this guy's basically like, oh, now you guys are flip flopping. You can judge somebody and you can judge a situation based on how it's going at the time. Just because Potter didn't have it going well does not mean, oh, well, if he gets it turned around, that it's always going to be that way. You judge on the situation. You don't judge off of, oh, well, he's shit and he's always going to be shit. And that's what this fan base does 90% of the time. Like, oh, this player's playing shit right now. He's always shit. That's what we do for everything. That's not how life works, bro. I'm sorry.
Fair play to you if you was Potter in through that fucking run, but I think statistic-wise, it was literally like our worst run in history. So, you know, how could you not want a change of manager? Like,
probably not worse than
and it's fair enough if you want to change, and it's fair enough if you don't. Like it.
The debate was more about the debate. I think even people that were Potter in would have admitted that during that time, the debate was actually more who would have come in rather than, you know, I don't think they had a problem with making a change. It was who would have come in, especially between us lot. So, like, Lauren, like we debate multiple times who comes in. Like, yeah, maybe we needed a change, but like, and again, like, am I happy we beat Dortmund, Leicester, Leeds? Fuck yes, I'm buzzing. 3 wins in a row, but is this like, look at this lineup, bro. Like, do you not expect to beat these teams? Because I do. I expected that comeback on Tuesday whenever we played. Does it mean I'm not happy? No, I was over the moon. We played really well. I'm glad we done it. But like, don't come in and start like point scoring. Like, it's ridiculous.
I think people just want to play the hypocrite card, and like, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, people
like,
can judge a situation and change their mind. That's how it works.
City and Arsenal back to back. Like, just give it time. Like,
people just act like you can't change your mind, and that's literally something that people do every day. Like, you can go, okay, well, today I felt this way, but tomorrow, am I going to feel that same way? The situation could change. Like,
it's almost like
their minds. That's how it works.
It's almost like these people think that I don't want, or people that will Potter out don't want the team to do well. Like, what the fuck?
No.
Like, I want Potter to win the Champions League, bro. Like, you know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. Like, why?
I think they just want like a consistency of an opinion, but that consistency of an opinion doesn't exist. The opinion goes as far as like,
it's football. You don't know what's around the corner. Like, it's you don't know if we might go and lose to Everton and then lose the next games. Like, it's just, you don't know. Like,
I can tell you right now, if we win the rest of the games for the rest of the year, everybody in the chat will not say a word about Potter out. Guarantee you it.
You shouldn't. If we win every game until the end of the season, you'd be an absolute moron to say Potter. That would be stupid.
That's judging on a situation.
Probably our best run ever if we did that. We won't, but if we did. Pice, I let Bertrand finish it off. So Pice, an 8 and a 9 for Potter so far. Would you go as high as that? Especially now that you've made it clear you're still Potter out.
Well, yeah, I want to give it some more time. I want to see especially because this whole 3 at the back thing. Like, I want to see us play a 4. But I understand 3 at the back. I think short term it's wise to try and pull the results out of the bag, and we're doing that at the moment. And I think today we played some really, really good football. I think against Dortmund we played some really, really good football. So, you can't knock him at the moment. He's doing well. I think the substitutions, in terms of the manager rating, we usually look at substitutions, performance lineup. So I think it's in and around the ballpark of an 8 or an 8.5 for me. Yeah, I mean, you can't really blame him too much. I think the game was a bit of a pinball game, to be fair. But what I will give him credit for is that he identified that our midfield was being overrun and brought Gallagher on and changed the system. So I actually think he gets more points for that, because that's tactical now. So, like, you know what I mean? There's other games where he's not made a change or not seen something that I thought, okay, this is concerning. But he did see that today, and I think everyone could see it as well. So, good that he acted on it. And I give him the 8.5 because I think that was a big moment in the game. I was worried that, when Chalobah came on with a 4, Chalobah was right back, which is interesting because you said it would be Fofana, bro, and it wasn't.
I did. I hold my hands up. I did. Very true.
I got that one on me. But I think I was a bit worried, but actually the game was, even with a 4, I think we did okay. So I think he deserves a high rating.
And once we got the 3-1, we were, if anything, much closer to get a 4th than anything concerning.
We could have had so many goals. Like, I think even when I was rating Fofana, I didn't mention the header he had from the corner. What a save that was! Like, start of the second half, pretty much. I think it was like the first 2 minutes. So,
and obviously all the offside goals, which were all quite close, like in the grand scheme.
The only reason why he doesn't get like a 9 or a 10 is because Leicester did have quite a few chances. It was quite open. It wasn't the complete perfect defensive performance. So, yeah.
No, I think that's fair. One thing that I think should be mentioned as I take it to Bertram, a lot of us, more so maybe other than me, but a lot of people were criticizing that he needs to do more on the touchline, he needs to give more instructions, his in-game management needs to be better, and also his the way he speaks in the media. I think he's actually improved on all of those things. I'm not sure if everyone's going to be big man enough to admit that he's improved on all of those things. Maybe not yet to the level that people would somewhat like, but he was very animated against Dortmund in terms of on the sidelines. Again, I didn't see him as much today, but he was certainly giving out instructions. He was during games when the game was stopped, he was trying to change things that were happening in the game, like the in-game management that we were talking about. So, when you criticize people for things and then they improve those things, you also need to give them credit when they do. Because, the thing that people don't like about Potter is that, yes, he hasn't had experience at this level. Yes, he hasn't been under this level of pressure. Yes, he hasn't had this level of players. Yes, he didn't have experience of being at a club that expects to win every game. that has not 10 journalists in every press conference, but 50 or 27. And the worse things are, the more there are. Yes, he hasn't experienced that. But like a young player that comes in and, yes, has a few struggles at the beginning, if they're good, they will learn from those things and then get better. And I think that's what Potter's doing at the moment a little bit. Because he's in himself, I still think there's a good manager in Potter. Whether it will work with us long term, I don't know. But I still think he's done enough in his career to know that he's a good manager. Is he the best manager in the world? Probably not. Probably will never be that. He's still a good manager. And people that say he's not, well, you just have an agenda and you're not happy at what he did at the club. That's okay. But he's still done enough to be a good manager. But like a young player, if they improve and sort out the things that we don't like about them, the things that they do wrong, well, then we also need to give them credit of that and don't keep them in our minds the way he was in September. But remember that things have changed a little bit since September in the way he does things. That doesn't mean it's quite the level that people may want it, but you still need to appreciate that it's never not as bad as it was anymore, at least. That's what I think. Maddsion, we have an 8.5, an 8, and a 9. Where are you going to go for Potter's rating today?
I'd give him a 9, to be honest. But I think the rating today also ties into the coaching he's done. You look at the players we've played today, some of the highest ratings we've given. I praised Cucurella a lot. I praised Koulibaly a lot as well. I think this game, as well as the other two ones, have been, as a result of the coaching he's done. Players that have been criticized, players that, we don't know how to get the best out of. He's coached them in to becoming better. Even a player like Havertz, the start of the season, Havertz was, closely disgraceful. And now, it seems like he's found a role. So I think the job he's done and the pressure he's been under, because, even after the Tottenham game, when I still, mildly with Potter in, I think it took a lot to come out and win these 3 games. It's the best case scenario. So wins, wins they get wins, wins get wins. Better performances will follow as well. And I think just to quickly touch upon, my opinion as to why we have Potter, and I think you touched upon it before as well. He clearly is a good manager. Whether he's, coached a top club or not, we've seen what he's done at Swansea, with Östersunds, with Brighton as well, where they played some good football and punched well above their weight. He was able to take bad to mid-level players. He made Danny Welbeck look like a somewhat decent footballer. You have to be a good coach for that. And I think the issues we have, especially, this season, have been a result of, the previous ownership, a result of everything. And I think there's a reason to believe that he can change it. I think, come to the summer, he's able to coach his philosophy in throughout the preseason. We're able to sell some of our deadwood players and stuff like this. So that's why I'd stick with him till the end of the season. And, these 3 wins, they make it better. We're, beginning to see something. We can see improvements if we look at, the game today versus the game against West Ham, for example. Easy to remember. It was the same kit. So I think he deserves credit today, both tactical with Gallagher, also the players that performed well today because his coaching has improved them. So I'd give him a 9.
Fair dues. Fair dues. I agreed with a lot of things you said there, honestly, and I was in that boat until I was where you were, where it's like I was close after Southampton because that first half was so bad. I was like, I just lost faith where I'm like, if you can be this bad, do I believe that you can be good enough? And I just lost a little bit of faith in that. And then Spurs went on top of that. I'm like, I don't believe in you right now. And if I don't believe in you, then I think it's better if someone else comes in. I was still struggling because I was like, well, who could replace him that I would really rate and like and would significantly improve things to be worth the payout for Potter and everything else that brings with it. But everyone has different points at what needs to happen for them to say the manager needs to go. Everyone's different, and that's okay. At the end of the day, I know, like, if fans did like a whole huge protest, Potter out, maybe yes, it could happen, and the fans could force the hand of the owners. But I also don't think that you would get enough fans on board with. Like, you didn't ask for this.
Planned if we lost to Dortmund, by the way.
Sorry.
It was being planned behind the scenes if we lost to Dortmund.
What, that he was sacked or a protest?
Like a big fan group protest, yeah.
Absolutely. And had we lost against Dortmund, maybe that could have happened, because then that would have, even with Leeds, but still that would have been 3 in 19, or 18. Like, at some point, there comes a point where things are too much. And as much as I don't agree with the fans protesting to get the manager sacked personally, I find it, understandable to some extent. At the same time, I think, yes, we know, like, because it's Bowley now and it's this new ownership and isn't experienced in owning a football club, that's why sometimes I do agree with this. But in a general sense, I often think, well, as much as I'm a fan and I try to be informed and everything, I still don't know all the ongoings at the club. So, like, I still think that the people in charge of the club will have a better view of what needs to happen than I do. Again, because Bowley and Iqbali are new owners and they don't know football as well yet. Maybe this is currently a little bit different, but that's, say, a few years into the ownership of Abramovich, like a decade. And then with Mourinho judged, I'm like, well, but they know more details about why things are bad than I do. So if they think we should sack a manager, okay. If they think we shouldn't, okay. Like, I have my opinion, but I don't think we should force our opinion on the board. I think, like, they have all the ins and outs. We don't. Let them try to make the best decision in their opinion. But hey, at the end of the day, we didn't lose to Dortmund, so let's see what happens now. Maybe we'll win every game until the end of the season. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the end of this. Well, it's another long stream, but I appreciate everyone that has tuned in and has, well, sat around to go from hot and cold. Today was like we had arguments, we had screaming at each other, we had being hyped by scoring 3 goals, getting 3 points. Hey, we were filled with everything. So if you don't want to miss out on future streams like this, get subscribed if you haven't already. We're on the road to 20,000 subscribers. Hit the like button on your way out. That would be massively appreciated. Big shout out to all the super chat donators today. Appreciate it very, very much. Shout out to all my wonderful guests. Please check out Bertram and Clutch on their Twitters. The links are down in the description below. And of course, check out Pice's website, chelseafc365.com, for all your latest Chelsea news. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea, upwards and onwards, and we'll see you next time.